All right, what's up, everybody? This is Francis over here from PE Nintendo, PlayerEssence.com, Player Essence Gaming, and we have the PE Network Vidcast number 5. It's been quite a while, and I know you guys have been wanting me to do this. I've seen the emails, trust me, but it was just the whole E3 thing that came up, and then I've been real busy at my other job that I have, and then some of the other guys have been busy doing other things. It seems like I see the guys on different podcasts pretty much like every single day, so everybody's kind of busy doing other things, but I was finally able to round up almost everybody that I wanted for this one. So I got an all-star crew, and a new member. We have one new member that we have here to the PE network, and that is Terminator Juice. So Terminator Juice, this is the first time that you've been on one of these, and Terminator Juice is now an official member of the PE Network. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Terminator, and your channel and kind of what you're about.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice. I want to thank Francis. He just told me a little bit ago that I'm part of the PE Network, PE Nintendo. That's really cool. I want to thank you for that. Basically, anyone that hasn't watched any of my videos, my channel's it's mostly about Nintendo, but I do discuss all other all types of video game news. But I am a Nintendo fan first and foremost, and most of my stuff is just going to be me in front of the camera doing podcasts and live streams with other guests. And I don't do game footage. I don't have capture cards and any of that equipment. So just expect to see me talking about games, whatever's the subject of the day. I do a weekly video series, which I just renamed to The Juice is Loose, every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talk about my Mario Kart 8 tournament, the results, give the new rules for the next week tournament, and then we pick a topic. I've had different guests each time, and we go over various topics and answer questions and stuff. Get pretty good participation with that, and then I just scatter in some random videos whenever something comes up, like today. I posted a video where the Wii U's were pretty much out of stock at a local store that I go to. A couple weeks ago, they had 4 Wind Waker bundles and they had 6 Mario Kart 8 bundles, and then the shelf was empty, so I made a quick little video about that. So that's just basically the type of stuff I do. I try not to call out other YouTubers or make videos.
Exposed.
Yeah, that's not my thing. Exposed. So I think Francis labeled me the most, what'd you say, the realest guy on YouTube or something?
The most realest dude on YouTube.
Basically, I just give a level-headed opinion on stuff, and sometimes I let my Nintendo fanboy come out. But and again, thanks for adding me to the PE Network. I really appreciate that, Francis, and look forward to more content for me in the future.
Yeah, cool. So, like, basically what the PE Network, as far as having him on there, it also helps out for E3 stuff, so now I can add him onto my list. So, I mean, I can potentially give Terminator Juice review codes and things like that. So, I'm working on all that stuff, so it's really nice to have him aboard. And, of course, Johnny on the spot right here, Jamie Butterworth. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on? I didn't realize that YouTube had switched up the whole inbox messaging thing, so I was looking for something that wasn't there.
Well, Jamie, just like I introduced Terminator Juice as one of the new members of the PE Network, I wanted to say Jamie Butterworth is also another new member of the PE Network. So go ahead and because there's been a lot of new users to the website since E3. I've gotten so many more unique visitors to the website, and I've gained almost 1,000 subs since my last PE Network vidcast. So go ahead and tell people who don't know, Jamie, about your channel and what you do and what you're about.
Alright, well, I am Jamie Butterworth, giving you the most Butterworthy videos around. I do everything from regular commentary, the occasional review. I like to do my own podcast, the Buttercast, as I call it, and I like to inject a little humor when I can here and there. Yeah.
Great podcast. You guys had Triforce Johnson on the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, well, Triforce was on a couple weeks ago, and that was over a 3.5-hour podcast that was a bit of a train wreck from beginning to end, but everyone had fun, and it's a lot of fun to listen to.
Mm-hmm. I listened to the whole thing.
Me too. Me too.
The whole thing. And just to let you guys know, when you guys were talking about Triforce Johnson and if I was watching it live, I was actually watching it live. So that's how I got the news up so quick about Triforce blasting Michael Pachter, because I was literally watching that live and I was like, oh snap!
We kind of figured.
Yeah.
But that's really that's about it. I like to have a reasonable and cool head about things and try and come at things from a logical perspective, and try and do something different from what you usually see on the YouTube community.
Mm-hmm. Very good channel. I started watching Jamie way back when he first started, and he's a newer channel, but at the same time, his subscribers have been going up, and his content is really good. He's caught the attention of a lot of larger YouTubers that actually watch his channel, so the quality is definitely there. So that's why I felt that having that balance, because Terminator Juice's channel is, even though they kind of do similar things, it's different from Jamie's channel. Everybody here has their own unique niche. So I mean, I thought it would be an important thing to add somebody like Jamie to the network and get him his own tab and get him even more exposure that I do give him on the website. So that's pretty cool too. And next, I'm going to introduce, welcome to the network, Jamie. I'm glad to have you. And next, I'm going to introduce Mizza T. You guys know this guy. He's one of the old school members. He is amazing. So, Mizza T, for the new users, can you go ahead and tell them what your channel is about and how you used to work for the A-Team? So go ahead and give us some of that.
That was actually my father who worked for the A-Team. I'm Mr. T. I'm T Junior. So
you guys look very alike.
You know, those genes are very strong. And well, hey fools, it's Mr. T of the Mr. T Show. If you didn't know before, to the new users, as Francis alluded to, my channel is about news and reviews and some gameplay too. And I also do some, I love to do some video game community satire. I couple in a lot of, I do a lot of, green screening and, digital work. I do, like I said, I do commentary. My tea time commentaries are mainly commentaries on the gaming community and the gaming industry as a whole. And haven't done those in a while because I've been doing a lot of more game community or game industry related stuff, like covering E3, and I was at PAX in Boston a couple months ago. So I wanted to, add more actual video game industry stuff to the channel. And of course, I will get back to my battling drones as well, because a lot of people really love that stuff. So
you have to get back to that.
Definitely going to get back to that coming up this coming week. So actually, I should have a video up tonight that'll get me started back on that track again. So yeah, my show, it's a place where you can come and get your game news, hopefully, but also get some good comedy. So yeah, and welcome to the new guys, Jamie and Terminator Juice. Love the name, by the way, Terminator Juice. Awesome.
Thank you.
And welcome to the PE Network.
Yeah, so another thing that I also wanted to say about Mizza T's channel, it's I've actually got a lot of the indie developers and stuff that have actually came to me and said that they really like that you're promoting their games for them. Also like with the trailers and stuff, because you do have somewhat of a big fan base to get out there. So I mean, you're going on 2,000 subscribers, so that's good exposure for smaller developers. And the fact that you're out there promoting their games, that's really awesome. They've relayed that to me, because I talk to a lot of these indie developers all the time, and they relayed that to me, and how my site kind of pushes indie developers too. So thanks for that as well. I think that's really awesome that you do that. I mean, you don't have to do that,
Yeah, well, I love the indies. Like I said, I feel like they're the future of the industry. They're really creative. When you don't have a lot of money, you have to be real creative to stand out. So I love that's right up my alley. So I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, I love doing that. So no problem.
Nice. Okay, and of course we have the Zen Gamer. He's the king of logic. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Zen, and what your channel's about, and all of that good stuff.
Sure. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You already know who it is. Zen, the Zen Gamer, one and only king of logic. And if you're new to Player Essence, you haven't heard of my channel before, I built my channel from the ground up, hopefully, so that it would be a perfect mix between gaming and philosophy. That's what I do. If you look back through the videos that I've done already, you'll see I take a very different perspective and a very different look and approach to the subjects that I cover, both from a logical point of view, from a philosophical point of view, but I also cover the games as well. I do music videos, countdowns, and a huge variety of videos. I also gotten into live streams lately, so you can check out those and see what it's like with me talking with the other guys from the gamers at large. I may have special guests on there, here and there and everywhere, but if you're looking for pretty much a level-headed approach to games with a deeper look into certain aspects of these games and the industry at large, then the Zen Gamer Zone is for you. The videos are not rolling out quite as smoothly as they used to, but that is due to my schedule. Hopefully that will change. As for future content, the nearest thing I can think of is I'm probably going to finish up my E3 videos soon, the reviews for those. Yeah, a month late. Points for relevancy, right? But I'm going to get to that eventually. Beyond that, maybe a countdown I've had it in my mind to do for quite some time now. But please be patient. Don't think it's a dead channel. It's not. Yeah, I try to put up content as much as I can, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy looking back through the back catalog of videos already there. So if you like what you see, subscribe.
Yeah, and one of the funniest things I ever saw on Zen's channel, I mean, it is really that balance between, you know, philosophy and game content, but the comedy on there, some of the stuff that you've done, the Reggie Fils-Aimé or the Nintendo E3 video, that was probably the most hilarious, one of the most hilarious things. I think Nintendo won E3 on that. They didn't have to go. They should have just played that video and they would have won. So Zen is one of the older members, just like Mr. T. I think we've built together a pretty nice nucleus of guys. And here's the thing that everybody has to know as far as being patient for content coming. We all have full-time jobs outside of this. You know, this is kind of our secondary thing that we do, you know? So that's why sometimes the content might be a little bit slower and stuff like that. As far as YouTube channels go,
we have games to play too, so it's hard to.
Yeah, exactly. Some of us have our own immediate families, you know, kids and stuff like that. So sometimes the content isn't always there, but when we do have the content, it's definitely quality. And I've tried to make it more of a focused and better editing, more quality over quantity. So that's why you guys got shows like the Super Smash Bros. Show, which almost has like 8,000 views, you know, between the 2 episodes. It's easily one of the most popular shows I have. It is the most popular show. So yeah, you're gonna get better quality from all of us. That's the one thing. And if it's not like to the point where it's edited, it's also going to be like really good, insightful speaking as far as talk, like the live streams and stuff like that. So you're going to get great stuff coming up from all of us here. So thanks to everybody for being able to take the time to join us today. And I want to just, of course, thank again Jamie and Terminator for joining the network. But we're going to go ahead and get into some other stuff here. I've been getting a lot of new users to the website, like I've said, and stuff, and I'm going to briefly address what happened with Review Tech because that's what everybody keeps on emailing me about. The thing about what happened with Review Tech, he was baited into talking about me because he thought I was being attacked by somebody who cut, cropped, edited, and didn't source where he got his material from. Review Tech saw that video and he came after me. Review Tech refused to talk to me. So let me just let you guys know about all this. So this is for all the users who keep on emailing me about it. Review Tech refused to talk to me man to man about it. He would talk to my subscribers instead on other videos. He'd be talking to other people. So that's as far as I'll go, and I would like the questions to stop. I mean, and these are unique visitors that are coming to me. They're not saying that, hey, you know, and you guys know who you guys are out there asking me about this stuff. These aren't people that are just trying to troll. These are actual users of mine that are asking me legitimately about this. So Review Tech was misled by somebody, and he knows he was, but he doesn't want to talk to me man to man about it. So that's as far as I'll go with it. You guys can direct your questions to him from now on, okay? All right, so I think that's that. Are we good with that topic, guys?
Yeah. We are.
All right, so that's good. And open this up. I mean, I know Review Tech's Rich isn't probably going to watch this, but any day you want to talk to me man to man, Rich, let me know. But he refuses to talk to me, so that's that. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead, and we're also going to talk about Player Essence just a little bit. A lot of people have been asking as far as what the direction of the site's going to be going forward. I mean, because it is a lot of Nintendo, but I just want to say this. I'll briefly touch on this. It's put that way for a certain reason because I have to look at it from a business perspective, guys, and I have to look at it from what you guys want to see. Whenever people go on my site or if I post an article, if nobody's clicking on it, I can't cover that game as much because I have other things like my other job and stuff like that. So just keep in mind that whenever I post certain articles about certain games, it's because that's what people want to see. That's why we get Sunset Overdrive more than the Order 1886. You know, that's why we get more Nintendo news more than we get some other news because I have to go off of what people want to see. So just keep that in mind when you guys are going on playeressence.com, because it is really essentially a one-man operation, and I have a finite amount of time to do that. So that is all the stuff that I'll address with the site. And if you guys have any other questions as far as that goes, email me, and I'll talk to you through there. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into the content that people actually want to hear about, not me talking about all this other stuff. So Nintendo 3DS. So you guys know that we did have a Nintendo 3DS Direct, a Japanese one, and I'm going to go out and list the games that they talked about there. So we had Final Fantasy Explorers, which was it's a four-player online co-op game, local and online, and it's coming to Japan this winter. We have Dragon Quest X, which is going to be on the 3DS, and it's just a completely streaming game. It streams straight from Square Enix's servers. But here's the cool thing about the game is that it actually looks really close to the Wii version, or like a little bit better actually, and it looks better than what a 3DS would look because it doesn't run off of the actual hardware of the system. It's just a streaming game. And they also have another game called Forbidden Magna. I think that's what it's called, and it's a strategy RPG made by the same developers who made Rune Factory 4. And there is another game they talked about called Kenka Bancho, which I guess is it's like a beat 'em up stop game, or kind of like a River City Ransom. That's what it reminds me of, but like 3D. They just showed a short teaser for it, so I don't know if anyone's going to have anything to talk about that game. And then they talked about Monster Hunter 4G or Ultimate. It's coming out October 11th, and it will be playable soon. And yeah, they're going to have more footage of it, and they showed some good stuff. So just, can I get you guys' quick thoughts, starting with Nintendo, about the 3DS games shown off? Are you interested in any of these games that they talked about?
I am. But to be very honest, I didn't watch that direct.
Okay.
I didn't watch that direct. That was a little bit too early for me.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either, but it was 4 a.m. It was 4 a.m. where I was at.
But I have very briefly, read up on, what was announced. They all sound very good. You see, right here, I didn't even know about that whole streaming thing. I just learned that. I just learned that. I didn't know that. But it sounds very good. From what I've seen of the games, it looks pretty decent. But if I'm to be honest, some of these games should have just been Wii U games, man. that's my point of view. I mean,
which
that Final Fantasy one, it looks really good. The idea behind it, local online multiplayer, and all that good stuff. I just wish they just made it, Wii U as well, or a version for the Wii U. Maybe even bring across localized Dragon Quest, the Wii U version. I mean, all of that. But for what it is, looking at it for what it is, and not my own wishes being bundled on there, it looks pretty decent. For what they announced, it looks good. Based on my brief look at it. I'm not sure I'll be able to buy all these games because, again, there's a lot of stuff I need to buy.
Yeah, you're right. There's a ton of stuff. I agree. But yeah, I was kind of, I'll talk about my thoughts in a little bit. But yeah, I can see what you're saying as them being Wii U games. I think that's why next generation, that fusion system needs to happen or whatever. They need to do that because you can't trust these third parties to put content on Nintendo's consoles. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there as far as the games go and stuff. So Terminator Juice, you want to talk briefly? I know you're not the biggest fan of the 3DS, so you want to briefly talk about your impressions of the games. Are you interested in any of these?
Well, first of all, I mean, I have a 3DS, and I do like some of the games, but I'm not a big RPG guy. That's really the kicker for me. And but it sounds like a bunch of great games for the Japanese audience, and that's where the Direct was. So it just sounds like the 3DS is just going to continue to just be selling well with these great games coming out. I know the Japanese, they love those type of games. The only one that really gets my attention that I do want to get into someday is the Monster Hunter series. And Monster Hunter 4, the fact that it's not coming to Wii U when we had the Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, it sold fairly well. I think it's at like 500,000 or something, I think. The fact that they're not going to continue bringing those to the Wii U and building that audience is kind of disappointing because 4 looks really impressive especially for a 3DS game. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing. I don't have the XL. I don't know if you guys do. You can tell me, but the standard 3DS, I can't play it for more than an hour at a time. My fingers, I have pretty big long fingers, and my hands cramp up real bad when you get over an hour. And I know those Monster Hunter games require lots and hundreds of hours to really get into and to do well. So nothing. If it's going to stay 3DS only, then really none of those games are potential purchases for me. But it does sound solid for the Japanese audience to continue the momentum of the 3DS. So that's about my feelings on it.
Before we get to Ms. T's thoughts on that, I just do want to say that make sure if you guys want to ask questions, I have the Q&A app going. You can put your questions on there. And if you don't want to put your questions on there, you can also put your questions on Player Essence or on the event page, and I'll try to get to them. But the best way to do it is use the Q&A app, which it should show up in the bottom
on Google Plus.
Of the screen.
Right?
On Google Plus. It should show up on there. So because I only have 2 questions right now, and I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I want to ask this question and that question." So yeah, go ahead and do that if you can. So Ms. T, you want to go ahead and give your just your brief impressions on the Nintendo Direct and the games that they had there?
Sure. I'm actually really excited about what I saw because I am a fan of RPGs, but I was a little worried about the future of the 3DS. I saw a few articles where people were talking about it being kind of in its twilight, and I was a little worried because I felt like the potential of it hasn't been explored yet. And to see these somewhat major games still coming out for it. Obviously, this is just Japan, but I think some of the, I think Final Fantasy and what's the other one? Dragon Quest will probably make its way over here at some point. So that was really encouraging to see. And so I was a little worried about, because a lot of the big franchises for, at least for the first party games on Nintendo, have already been explored. Like we got Mario Kart for 3DS already. We got Mario Land. We got Super Mario 3D World or 3D Land. We got
Zelda.
we got a lot of Zelda. We got Luigi's Mansion and all this stuff. So I was worried about what we were gonna get in the future. Obviously, there's still an opening for Metroid. So Metroid. So hopefully we'll still get that. And so I'm looking forward to this game. Like I said, I hope they come over here, and I feel like they will because it seems like, at least as far as the Japanese games go, 3DS is where it's at. So, because it seems like especially over here in the West, Japanese games don't get as much love as they used to, and that kind of saddens me a little bit. So, it was really really encouraging to see that from 3DS coming out. So, yeah.
Well, I will say, just to piggyback off of what you said for a little bit, I will say that the media also does a good job of downplaying the 3DS. The 3DS is literally selling on par with the PS4 and actually beating it, in some weeks, and you would never hear that. Like, it doesn't even matter, to a lot of the press, and they just don't care. It's like, oh, well, the 3DS is a success, whatever. The games, they're not super graphics, so it's like whatever. But the 3DS, Pokemon X and Y is still selling at the top of the charts. Kirby is still doing really well. Mario Golf, all those games are all in the top 50, in North America and Europe, Like, those games all do really well. It just gets pushed aside, and that's why you see those articles about, those things saying, oh, well, it's in its twilight and stuff like that. But as long as they just make new games, I don't see how it's not going to keep on doing well,
Especially since they don't got no competition. I guess we'll get into that later.
Oh, yeah, like, all I got to say is just white flag, man. Sony just waving that. It's done, but we'll talk about that later. So Jamie, you want to briefly talk about your impressions of those games or anything that you're interested in?
I just like Monster Hunter 4 now. Thanks.
Well, you'll have to wait till next year. So that game is local. So just to let you guys know, Monster Hunter is 100% coming to North America and Europe.
Oh yeah.
It's 2015, early 2015. That game's coming. In Japan, that game is coming October 11th. In Japan. So yeah, Jamie, anything else you have on that, or are we ready to move on?
I think we're ready to move on. Like, there's nothing else I'm really interested in that I saw there, and I don't really have anything else to add to that, honestly.
I want to mention something about that Final Fantasy game.
Oh, go ahead.
It's streaming only, so 3DS always online. So all the haters can jump on that.
Did you say Final Fantasy, or did you say Dragon? It's the
Dragon
Quest.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest.
So that's always online right there, ain't it?
Yeah. Well, the Wii and the Wii U versions, it's an MMO, so it's always online. So yeah.
Right. So that's interesting though that it's streaming. I meant to talk about that when I had my turn, but so it's streaming the game, right? There's nothing. I'm sure there'll be something to save on the system itself, but the majority of the game's going to be streamed.
The whole game, it's like like PlayStation Now or something like that, you know, or it's like,
That's interesting. You know, I wouldn't even think the 3DS is capable of doing that. So they pulled that off, and that's actually pretty cool.
yeah, they it's just as long as you have a system that can connect online, you know, they can do that. I mean, you can do it with tablets, you can do it with. I know that the PSP could do it if it wanted to, if somebody wanted to do that. So I mean, just as long as
And
you
it's
have.
not. You said it's a pretty impressive looking game too. I didn't
Yeah,
actually see any of that. So
it looks like a little bit better than the Wii version from what they've shown. It looks a little bit better, and like you know, the 3DS isn't as strong as the Wii. I mean, the 3DS can do a couple different graphical techniques the Wii can't do, but overall, the Wii's a stronger system, and it looks as good as the Wii version, if not better. So that's good. I mean, the Wii U version doesn't look that much better than the Wii version, so it is what it is. But just briefly, what I want to talk about, I'm really only interested in Final Fantasy Explorers because they showed off the gameplay and it actually looks really cool, like a really nice action RPG, and it's online co-op. So I know my brother is going to want to play that, so that's something that I'm interested in. Monster Hunter, I'm not so sure about, but yeah, but for sure, Final Fantasy and Square Enix can go F off with Dragon Quest X because it's been how long now? You know, like give me the Wii U version. If you don't want to give me the Wii U version, you don't want me to get my money, then I'm not going to give it to you. If they bring it out here, I don't care. You know, like there's other stuff to play. So that's really what I'm interested in. Although I'll have my eye on Monster Hunter, but we'll see what happens. But we're going to go ahead and move on to kind of like a subtopic of this one, and this is going to be talking about Japanese third-party developers. Like they're somewhat stepping up to the plate when it comes to the Wii U, but why aren't they giving the Wii U the time and like the money and like investing in it when it's the best-selling 8th generation console by a large margin? So I'll talk about that, my thoughts last, but I want to start off with Jamie. What do you think is the reason why, and do you think it will pick up? Like, because that's what everybody keeps on asking me about. Is like, is there going to be more Wii U support from Japanese developers? So, Jamie, what do you think?
Well, I think that it's possible we're going to see more support out of Japan because, I mean, the home console market in Japan is pretty much tanked at this point anyway, but Wii U's at the top of the heap there. So we may see more coming out of Japan, especially with them doing exclusive deals with Bandai Namco and with Platinum Games, of course, and also Team Ninja, whoever Team Ninja is called.
Valhalla.
Right. But as to why we're not seeing much on it, I think on the spot here, usually I'm a lot better when writing this stuff down, but I think the reason we're not seeing a whole lot of support for it is because Nintendo really doesn't kowtow as much to third parties as Sony and Microsoft do. I mean, that's kind of the honest truth there. It's because Sony and Microsoft will gladly pay third parties for exclusive bits and pieces, or they'll advertise for third parties however much they want to, and Nintendo doesn't really do that very much. So I think it's a lot of Nintendo just not putting out money the way the other guys do, is why we don't see as much third-party support on their systems in particular.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a fair assessment to make. So, Ms. T, you want to go ahead and do you have anything to add to that? What Jamie said?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that. Jamie hit it on there with that, and I think, like you said, it's the console market in Japan isn't like really flourishing. It's all about kind of handhelds and mobiles and stuff like that. So I think that's one of the reasons why you don't get it. I think, once it sells a little more, it's only been a year and a half, so still pretty early. People forget, a lot of consoles in the past don't have a ton of games out in the first year and a half, the first 2 years. Super Nintendo, people forget that it was pretty slow out the gate. N64 obviously was, so it's historically it's not that surprising, but the console market is not as good as it used to be either. So I think that those are the reasons.
Can I ask you one question though, just to intervene a little bit?
Sure.
So, don't you think the third-party developers, the Japanese developers, could make the Wii U successful? Like a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it's not selling as much. What if Japanese developers put more games on there? Because the last time I checked, it was games sell consoles. Well, if you're not putting anything out there, how is it going to sell?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. That's the thing. Like, do you mean just in Japan, or you mean in the West?
No, screw the West. No, I'm joking. No, I'm just talking about Japan for right now. And as far as just seeing Japanese games, of course, being localized here in America too, but why isn't there more Japanese developers? I mean, if they can make the Wii U a success if they wanted to. I mean, they're helping games like Puzzle and Dragon Z, games like Bravely Default, games like Final Fantasy Explorers, Dragon Quest X, all of these games that are coming to the 3DS. This is the reason why the 3DS is dominating. It's not just, I mean, it's a big part is Nintendo's games, but it's also, I mean, Puzzle and Dragon Z is, it's 1.5 million sold in a few months. Like it's just there's tons of other games, third-party games that do very well in Japan. I mean, Persona Q. I think Persona Q sold like almost 200,000 units like in its first month, which is pretty freaking good, for that type of game and that budget type of game. So, I mean, those are also games that help people pick it up, that pick up the system. So, do you think, I mean, like, they can make it? Do you think that they are kind of holding back a little bit because Nintendo isn't giving them those handouts?
Yeah, I think that's the case for sure. I mean, I thought that went without saying is that Nintendo isn't giving them the exclusive money, so they don't feel like they want to take the risks, quote unquote risk, if they if you will. So yeah, that's a huge part of it. And like I said, the Japanese culture is very different. Here, the Western market, you can get gamers to jump on your game by throwing out super graphics, super photorealistic graphics and stuff like that. But the Japanese market, that's not what their focus is. Their focus is on games and gameplay, and so it could be that because of this new hardware, it takes a little longer for them to get used to. Like I said, it's really early. It's still really early. I believe that stuff will come. I just think they have to get more acquainted with the hardware, and of course they're going to put their games out. I think, especially if Nintendo is the dominant home console, it should definitely get the third-party Japanese games more.
Yeah.
More.
I like the point that you brought up about the hard. They're still getting used to the hardware because a lot of Japanese developers are still making games for PS3, and the PS3 and the Wii U are completely different. So yeah, I agree with you there. So Terminator, you want to briefly touch on that topic?
Yeah, everyone made excellent points so far, but it's just really an enigma why the Wii U's getting ignored so much. Capcom's and financial problems, but look how much money they made off Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS last year in Japan. I think it's over 4 million. And then you got Konami. They're still catering to the Western.
Okay, screw Konami. God,
I don't care about the Ground Zeroes. That really turned me off to that whole thing with Metal Gear Solid 5. But the fact that they're putting it on 360 and PS3 and the Wii U version was just never an option. I just really would like to know the reasons behind some of these decisions. Is it something Nintendo's doing to piss these people off? Is it the money thing? And Nintendo, I forget one of their executives, maybe it was their president that just passed away, or old, ex-president. They said they weren't going to start that paying third parties or money hat and stuff because
Iwata said that.
Yeah, it was Iwata. That's just a bad cycle to start, because once you start, you can't get out of it. Once they start expecting money, you're in it forever.
Ask Microsoft and Sony that.
Yeah, you can't get out of it. You can't just all of a sudden decide, well, I'm not going to pay you anymore. So they're staying away from it. It seems with even the Western games, they don't want to do that, and they're holding their ground. So that's probably the biggest issue. But it'd be nice with all the positive things that have been going on with the Wii U, with the success of Mario Kart 8. Like I made that video earlier about the bundles being all sold out at a store that normally had at least 10 Wii U's at all time.
Mm-hmm.
When I go there, and I'm seeing a lot of positive things. The IGN poll, last year I think they had an option to click. Nintendo wasn't at E3 was one of the selections. Like they didn't even acknowledge Nintendo was there to go to this year, and now people are voting them that they won. So they made some strides. They're kind of building some momentum. The sales are looking decent now compared to last year, especially. So I'd like to think that some of these Japanese developers would start jumping on board and we'd start getting these games, because like you said, if we had these games, that's only going to sell more consoles. People are looking, well, I can get a Wii U or I can get a PS4. Well, I can't get this game, and this game on the Wii U. I can't get, I hate to say it, Metal Gear Solid, or whatever big game in Japan. They're not seeing those on the Wii U. They're getting some of them on the 3DS. but not on the Wii U. So they can't just jump on that system knowing that they're going to be good. They can get the Nintendo games and all the third-party games. You know, right now you can't get that. So it would really help. I wish they'd start putting these games out. You know, like Street Fighter. What's the next one coming out? You know, it's not coming to Wii U, and it's just like we keep getting these developers skipping the Wii U, and then it just only compounds the issue. So yeah, I wish I knew the reasons, though. I wish I really did.
I have an idea of what the reasons are, and it's really just a combination of things. But yeah, I mean, your points are right about that. I mean, Konami is just a really stupid company. I can just chalk it up to just them being really asshurt about a lot of things. Excuse my French. But that's just basically what Konami is, because Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5 would play best on Wii U. I mean, with that gamepad and what they're trying to do, it's obvious that the Wii U would be the system that could take advantage of that game, at least in my opinion, because he's over here pushing tablets and saying, look at all this cool tablet stuff we can do with the Sony tablet, and you have to switch controllers or prop it up to where you see it and look. I mean, you got that right in your hand, you know. So it's pretty obvious that it's like the game was built around the Ground Zeroes. If you have that stuff, like, it's really good. And Konami and Kojima. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever seen that Tony Rendy video where he made that video on Kojima, but
oh yeah, I saw it.
You need to watch that. That's look up Tony Rendy. What's his new name? I think
that's PM Prime.
Yeah, PM Prime, and look up his video on Kojima, and that's some of it's like just some of it's just like humor, but a lot of it of what he's saying is completely 100% true about Kojima. But anyway, I digress. So Zen, you want to talk about this a little bit as far as Japanese developers supporting the Wii U? Do you think it'll come?
Well, first up, where third parties are concerned, East and West, is true for them both. Money moves mountains, and Nintendo doesn't play the game. It's just that simple. Nintendo doesn't play that game. They don't hand out, you know, special exclusive money or support money. That's just what they just don't do that. I have my own issues with the West, as does everyone else here, I suppose. But where the East is concerned, I'm going to focus on Square Enix for a minute. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You're, well, you know, some of the more optimistic among us will say, well, it's still coming, Zen. Wait, Zen. But I'm too skeptical for that. Sorry. Where Kingdom Hearts is concerned, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Final Fantasy 15 by extension. You announced this for the PS4. Good. Claps on you. Great. But then you announced it for the Xbox One. A system whose predecessor sold, what, 1 million? How much was it? A ridiculously low amount.
1.6 million, I think. The Wii U's already outsold it in Japan.
Over the course of 8 years. That's the part that you got to finish that sentence. Over the course of 8 years. So, you know, you're supporting this the sequel, the successor to the system wholeheartedly. And it's pretty much going to do the same thing. I don't see that miraculously changing. So there you have an example of Microsoft paying big daddy bucks to get support, and that's really all it is. Don't even get me started on Konami and Kojima. Kojima, I hate that man. I do. I do.
He's a bum.
He's a bum.
Exactly.
Tony Rendy was right about that. The man's a bum. But at the same time, I can respect him. He's an evil scientist. He's a genius at the same time. This man created a demo and got it to sell. If that isn't genius, well, I don't know what is.
You're right about that. And I want to put out a disclaimer here. I think all of us respect Hideo Kojima for what he's done. We've all played Metal Gear games for the most part. I respect the heck out of Hideo Kojima. But when it comes to his view on what's going on right now, I think that's why I'm calling him a bum. Not from what he's done and not because his games aren't good. I love Metal Gear Solid 4. I love Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, although he didn't produce that one, but, you know, that's the original. I love Metal Gear, but I'm just saying, like, his views on what's happening right now that's why he's a bum, not because of Metal Gear. Metal Gear's awesome.
And the fact that he's a Japanese developer and he aspires to be like Rockstar.
Exactly. It's ridiculous, man. It's like, come on, are you serious? Konami as a whole, I mean, what have they done recently outside of Metal Gear that's noteworthy?
Nothing.
How about less Metal Gear, more Snatcher? That'd be great.
Snatcher it's not something that they think they can sell like 10 million consoles, and you can't make a demo of Snatcher and sell it. So I don't think that's something that Konami. I mean, seriously, like, Konami, they've got Kojima Productions and they've got PES, and you know, that's it. They've got the Candy Pez, that stupid soccer game. I just call it the Candy game because it's Pez. They got Pez, and they got Kojima's Metal Gear. You know, they can't even, and this is the one thing, I mean, I don't want to turn into a super rant about Konami, but they're such bums at Konami. They are such bums that they have their own franchise, and they could not make a decent sequel, like a decent spin-off to their own game, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. They messed up their own franchise. Like, let's make something outside of it, like a different genre. Nope, couldn't do it. Had to give it to Platinum Games to save it. To save that game, they had to give it to Platinum. I mean, it's just that's how bad they are. That's how bad Metal Gear is, or not Metal Gear, but that's how bad Konami is. They can't even make, like, that'd be ridiculous. So what if Nintendo was going to make, like, I don't know, like a spin-off of Mario? And what if they were like, oh no, can't do it. Let's give it to a different company. Like, it's like come on, like, you have to be able to make your own franchises, don't you? I mean,
they're just not as good as they used to be. I mean, that's just it. So. And
then don't get me started on Castlevania. What happened to Lords of Shadow 2? Oh man! And everybody knows I was a huge Lords of Shadow 1 fan. I 1,000 pointed that thing and all the DLC, you know, on my Xbox 360. But they completely botched Lords of Shadow 2. That game sucks, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Aside from all of that, man, that's just Konami. That's just Square Enix, who I'll never understand. Well, as of late. I mean, Capcom. Look at where they are right now, right? Look at where they are right now. You recreate Street Fighter. You make another version. You're pretty much part of your legacy at this point. That's what you do. And then you skip the Wii U. Are you serious? You're going to sell the same game plus improvements to the same audience you've been selling to for the last, 5-6 years?
Are you talking about Street Fighter?
Yeah, Ultra Street Fighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was Street Fighter 4 Super Arcade Edition and now Ultra. So, I mean, at which point are these third parties going to understand that fire is hot? You touch it, you get burnt.
Seriously.
I mean, that is the definition of madness. Doing the same thing every time, expecting a different result.
I will add one thing. I will add one thing to the Ultra Street Fighter 4, just so people can get a little bit better perspective. You know, Capcom they are kind of bumming for money at the point, and they did give a somewhat decent excuse for it not coming. They said, oh, well, it's not coming to the PS4, Xbox One either. We don't really have the money or they don't want to spend the money to make a whole Wii U version from the ground up when they already have the engines running, you know. Now, if the next Street Fighter game doesn't come to Wii U, then BS on them, you know? Like, then okay, I'm calling them out. Because it's like they released all of the Street Fighter games on the Wii U Virtual Console, and they all did really well, you know? People went out and supported them.
I want to be honest here, man, Francis. I envy you. I envy that optimism. I do.
Well, I'm not being I'm just saying I'm just saying from what they've said, you know. Now, like I said, if the next one comes out and it's not on Wii U, I'm calling them out on it, you know. I'm completely calling them out on it, but I'm just saying, like, for this one, that was their excuse. Like, oh, well, it's not on PS4, Xbox One. I mean, you can't really refute that. They're right. It's really not on any 8th generation system. So you got to give them that, right?
All right. Okay.
I'm just saying that. I mean, they're right about that, because usually, like, the developer's like, oh, well, it's not on Wii U because, well, we didn't have the money. And they're like, oh, but we have a PS4 and Xbox One version. You know, like, it's like, you know, they're lying out their teeth. But, like, with this one, they did say, hey, well, it's not on the other ones either. And that's what kind of just silenced everybody. Like, well, yeah, you're right. You know? Yeah. So. But the whole I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying with Capcom, though. I mean, I see what you're saying.
The whole third thing on Nintendo. Nintendo, what they need to do is they need to become self-sufficient. Forget about all these guys.
Yes.
Stop, you know, groveling and begging for support. And that goes for both Nintendo and the fans, particularly. We've gotten to the point where we just do not need them. Instead, you know, ask Nintendo. I mean, let your voices be heard. Get them to have more of these exclusive partnerships, like they have with Hyrule Warriors, like they have with Devil's Third and Bayonetta 2. Yep. Right, that's gonna fill in the gaps between the major first-party stuff, make them fully self-sufficient, combined with the indie that they have. I think it's gonna be fine. Third-party they've lost their chance. They're done. They've completely sold out, and I don't think they deserve our attention or our support or our money anymore. To be honest.
Well, that basically wraps up with that topic. I think you guys all had some really insightful comments on there, and I sprinkled my thoughts in, so you guys already know what I had to say on the matter. But anyway, we're going to move on to a funeral. Sony, they just
I've been waiting for this topic.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
Yeah, can we just? I mean, it's everybody's gonna have their time at some point, but the Vita, prematurely. Has Sony given up on the Vita? Let me read you guys a statement from Andrew House, of course, one of the big wigs over at Sony, on the Vita getting AAA games like the 3DS has, like Pokemon and Bravely Default and all the great, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, all the great AAA games that Nintendo has. Let me read you guys a comment of what this dude Andrew House said about the Vita getting AAA games. I certainly think you'll see Vita as a AAA machine in Japan. Remember, he's talking to a Western website when he's talking about this, where it has a different function with the console dynamic of the marketplace. That, for me, is a given. It's hard to say in terms of the other markets. I think remote play is still in its early stages. I think we need to have a better understanding. Like, what does that mean? I mean, you just spinning around in circles. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, and here's the second part. We know a lot of players are embracing it and using it, talking about the Vita, and seems to be like an experience a lot, or seems to like the experience a lot. But necessarily that changes the dynamic. If you can play PlayStation 4 content at will on Vita, then that does not alleviate the necessity of having AAA content on it or not. I think that question will stay unanswered for a little bit. So essentially, me stumbling over myself because I couldn't believe I still can't believe what he's saying. He's saying this. Well, since the PS4 you can stream your AAA games from the PS4 to your Vita, does the Vita really need AAA games? That's basically what this man just said, and I'm not.
That's exactly what he said.
He said, "Does it really need AAA games? You can buy a $400 system, buy games on that, and stream it to there. Like the Vita it's an accessory." The dude is saying it's an accessory to the PS4 to get good games.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Okay, Jamie.
Yo.
Can you start off on this? As someone who actually used to own a Vita, what do you think about this dude? And here's the thing, guys. One more thing. A lot of people on Player Essence, a lot of my users, they have Vitas. This isn't Nintendo fans just ganging up on a lot of my users have Vitas, and I've confirmed that with them. They do have Vitas. So this is an interesting topic.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone I had a Vita for all of 4 days before it returned to the GameStop, because luckily they have a 7-day return policy for used items. Because here's the thing, I got a system and I got Tearaway, which was the one thing I was so excited to play for it, and I beat Tearaway in 6 hours. And even in 6 hours, I still completed over 85% of what the game had to offer, according to its little ticker thing. But I got to looking around and playing other things based on PlayStation Plus and lots of free downloads and looking at what was coming, and I was like, man, everything I want to do and play on the system, I can do on the PSP, which is like $30 on eBay. And it didn't make sense to me. And the more I look at it, what Sony has essentially done is they tried to make a smartphone and market it as a handheld gaming system that basically a smartphone that doesn't take calls and doesn't have so many of the other smartphone games that people just play when they're on the toilet. They tried to take a smartphone, market it as a handheld without doing handheld type things with it. It wasn't a good idea what they did with it. It was a great system for what it offered, but just done completely wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, I'm very shocked at him saying this. I couldn't believe it when I read it. I'm like, man, this is obviously waving. They're waving the white flag and they're waving it hard. Mr. T, you want to go ahead and add on to that a bit?
Man, it's sad because I have PSP. And I was hyped for the Vita, with the capabilities it has, and I didn't get it initially. I held out because I was, I didn't see enough games coming or that were available at the time. I wanted to get one that would warrant me to buy one, so I kind of held out, and it kept going on to where these games that I was expecting to see weren't coming, and then it's like, what's going on here? And then to hear these comments from Shuhei Yoshida, and and this guy, what's his name? Now, I mean, what is
his name is Full House. That's what.
I mean, what is that an answer? I mean, I don't. That doesn't sound like an answer to me. It sounds like some kind of I don't know, some kind of art, some kind of.
The dude was on a merry-go-round. He was just spinning. He was just spinning around while he's talking.
It just seems like it was just I don't. For a system that is so powerful and can do so many things, to be relegated to a accessory. I mean, is that what? I mean, are you really? I mean, am I gonna buy this huge, expensive piece? Well, not expensive for a handheld at least, but with all the mobile devices and things out there, it has to be different for me to go out in here and get it. And you're telling me that I shouldn't buy it for its differences. I should buy it for what it could do with other devices that I already have, or what you're expecting me to. It just doesn't make any damn sense to me. Like, I'm not buying this thing so I can stream games from my my PS4 to it, because I'd rather play those games on my PS4. The handhelds is for on the go. Like for me, I travel a lot with my profession. I go to festivals. I go, to I travel a lot for filming and things like that. So I love handhelds. A lot of people aren't big into them, but I am, and I love them. So I was, I'm expecting a lot more than to be able to just use it at my house. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So it's very disheartening, and it's sad. And yes, it's over for the PS Vita. It's over.
I always held out hope. I'd always be like, oh, well, it's doing okay in Japan, and I'd always try to be somewhat positive on it. But at this point, Sony, they're just it's over for Sony's handheld. I don't think they're going to be able to recover from these multiple blows, and they keep on talking too. That's the funny thing, is they keep on saying more and more comments, and each time the spin, and each time the admitting the failure of it is apparent. So I mean, I think the Vita is a great device, and I think it's going to have its niche audience, but at the same time, it's tough. So Terminator, do you have anything that you want to talk about that as far as the Vita goes, as far as what Andrew, what's your opinion on what Andrew House said, as far as being a marketing guy for the Vita? Do you think that was the right decision to say that like he did? I mean,
when I read that, I was shaking my head. I was eating breakfast in a restaurant this morning, and I was looking around me because I was just shaking my head to myself and seeing if people were looking at me funny, because I was just I could not believe what I was reading. And I'll comment on what he said, but I also want to give my thoughts on the Vita.
No problem.
Or should we call it the 3DS killer? In quotes. So when he said that, my first thought was, I just bought a new Sony LED TV. Why would I want to play PlayStation 4 games on the Vita screen? Why? And I guess it also, if you get to a Wi-Fi, say I'm at work and we got Wi-Fi, apparently they're trying to get it so you can turn on your PS4 remotely and stream it through the web. But everything I've heard says it's laggy, and the picture quality is not very good. And why would you go out and spend $200 so you can play a game like that if you happen to be in a Wi-Fi spot? I don't think they still have the 3G Vitas. Do they still have that?
That's discontinued.
Yeah. So even 3G is probably not even fast enough to stream it. So that right there is that's just stupid. I mean, to even think that people would buy that. Is this the guy that went on the Sony press conference at E3 and was reading those letters and all that? Was that same dude?
Andrew House, I'm not sure if that was him. Wasn't that the bigger guy? That was Adam
that might
Boyle.
be the new CEO.
Yeah. Maybe Adam Boyle was reading. No. Yeah, the new guy that took over for Jack Tretton. He was reading those letters, wasn't he?
That's right.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if it was the same person, but
no, it's not the same guy.
I mean, then what was it? 2 weeks ago they were saying they were having trouble keeping supply and demand in the U.S. for the Vita, and it
was PR. It was PR spin. They were basically they had the new Borderlands bundles that came out, and those did okay. They haven't been sending shipments because it hasn't been selling. So once they put those Borderlands bundles in, people bought them, and then there was no more left. So they're oh well, look we can't keep up with demand. Trying to build hype. It's just it was just a really bad, horrible.
Yeah,
Yes,
that,
statement.
and then this is just, what are they doing? So, I mean, it's just stupid. They should never have said it. It was almost as bad as Project Cars announcement, how the way they did that, and
Oh
we'll talk about that later. But
no.
I want to talk about my feelings on the Vita real quick, because I've never really talked about it on my channel or anything. So I'm a perfect candidate for the Vita because my DS, my Game Boy Advance, and now my 3DS, 90% of the time I'm playing that in my home. So I'm not playing it for the portability. I'm playing it for these great games that I can't get on anywhere else. So I buy the system so I can play these great games. And but the Vita was made to feel like a home console game in the palm of your hand. And so the portability part, you know, the thing's big and it doesn't necessarily fit well in pockets and stuff. So that part of it was never a turnoff to me. Like, I'm going to be playing it in the comfort of my own home, you know, laying in bed or, you know, in the bathroom, like, you know, every once in a while, like with the 3DS and DS, and that's just the way that I play my handhelds. And so the fact that I wasn't interested in the Vita, even though it was pretty much made for someone like me, the two biggest problems: proprietary memory, ridiculously overpriced.
Horrible.
That killed it. And then, since they're making it like a console-like experience, that takes extra development costs to make a game. Like, basically, it was like them making a game for the PS3, so it costs more money for them to develop a game to really utilize the system. So then they're not going to make their money back because they're not, you know, the games are expected to be around $40 for a handheld game. And so they basically killed the Vita right there with those two decisions to try to make it a home console experience type games on the go, and that proprietary memory and just ridiculous price structure of that. For me, that's, in my opinion, those two things killed the Vita from the start, and I don't think it ever had a chance after that. And, you know, it's doing okay in Japan. They just had a new game came out that sold pretty well last week.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. That was their biggest game of the year in Japan. That's probably their biggest release, and it still didn't outsell the 3DS.
No.
That week, you know?
I mean, it's still, the system itself just, I mean, it's just selling terribly overall globally. So the fact that they're just trying to shift now and say it's an accessory to the PS4, if I was a PS Vita owner, that would be just a slap in the face, and I think they're taking the wrong approach. I mean, you got to have the games on that system that people can't get anywhere else. That's why people buy 3DSs like crazy. You got all these types of games that we're not getting anywhere else, like these JRPGs and, you know, those Monster Hunter, and that's why the 3DS continues to sell, because you have to have a 3DS to play all these great games. So the fact that their mindset is, well, you can play these AAA games, but you have to have a PS4 and you have to stream them. You know, you don't need the Vita to play these games. Is the completely wrong approach. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who's in charge of that or why they made the decisions they made, but they pretty much, this is the final nail in the coffin, in my opinion.
And before we get to Zen's opinion, if this wasn't the final nail in the coffin, Nintendo and Best Buy just entered an agreement for buy one get one half off, or no, buy one get one free on all 3DS first-party games this upcoming week. So it's like super, like they're like stomping on their grave right now. So it's just like, yeah, and then also you can get a 3DS for like $169. The Mario and Luigi Dream Team bundle. That's going to be $169, I think. So that's going to save some money on there at Best Buy. Buy one, get one free on all 3DS first-party games. So you can buy Bravely Default and get Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, or you can buy Pokemon X and get Yoshi's New Island or Kirby. Or I mean, it's just a fantastic deal. I'm going to go pick up some games on Monday. So yeah, so it's just like it's pretty much done. I mean, and it's sad though, because I don't like that. To be honest, I don't like it because that's less competition, and I don't want Nintendo to not have any competition. So that's the kind of the crappy thing about this whole thing.
Really, when has Nintendo had competition in the handheld market anyway? Their games are still stellar. So
hardware-wise, I mean, I don't know if
the PSP.
I don't know if the PSP took any market share from the DS, because the DS is the greatest selling handheld system Nintendo's ever made, you know? So I mean, like, I'm not sure if it took any market share, but I mean, I could say there's maybe some people that were like, oh, well, I'm going to buy the PSP instead of the DS. So I mean, maybe it took a little bit, but yeah, I mean, at least it was something. There was some resistance. I mean, now it's like, you know, it's like it's going to be like there's going to be nobody. There's nothing. There's nothing pushing it at all. I mean, and I hope Nintendo holds themselves, to a high standard when it comes to their games and not slack off. Because let's be honest, the Wii era, they slacked a little bit. They did.
No, they did.
Yeah,
Especially
they
towards the
did.
end.
Yeah, especially, I mean, like Xenoblade not coming over, Pandora's Tower not coming over, doesn't matter. We sold this much, we sold 80 million units, who cares? But now, look at Xenoblade Chronicles X. Look at what they're doing with that game. They're
Right.
giving them money. They're like, we have to push this game. It's coming to America. No questions about it. This game's coming. So, I mean, you look at it now, and like, now that they're struggling a little bit, and now that they have competition, they're changing their tune as far as the games that come over and all that. We're seeing all the localizations and everything, whereas there was a number of Nintendo games, first-party games, that either was like late on localization or didn't even come over at all,
Yeah. Well, I just meant as far as the handhelds go. I think Nintendo not having a competition in that realm hasn't really hurt their handheld games, because they always bring it with the handheld consoles and games.
You're right. You're definitely right about that. I just don't want them to get like overconfident. I want them to continue pushing, and I think that games like Bravely Default getting that Square Enix being really lame. And then Nintendo saying, okay, well, we'll get that one, like, we want that. They didn't have to do that. The 3DS still would have sold, they didn't have to, but they did it because they still had Mario, Golf, and Kirby, like, for this year. So, I mean, they had games, their own first-party games, but they said, oh, we're going to add that, too. So, that's what I like about it. Last but not least, Zen, you want to go ahead and give your thoughts on Andrew Full House?
All right, sure, but let me set the mood first. Dead. Dead.
Will
In
Ferrell
the grave.
Dust in the Wind.
The Undertaker has come.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, the Undertaker.
And he has taken the soul of the Vita. The ship has sunk. It is done.
Leave that music on.
No more. Come on. How can you honestly say that? I mean, you just killed your own system. You're like, you know what? We're done. We just give up. I mean, come on. Really? Really? I mean, seriously. You can't do that. You can't do that. So this guy comes here and said, oh, well, we don't need to make any more games because, you can just stream the games from your system. Really? As Terminator Juice said, that's an absolute slap in the face for those who actually bought this system. And you know me. Anybody who's been listening to me for a while knows that I've been dogging on the Vita for the last couple of years now. Not because I genuinely hate the system, but because I honestly believe it should be better. And it just isn't. From the beginning, like I said before, Sony didn't know what to do with this console. As I said on Mr. Red Fox's podcast last night, big shout out to him. So I'm just pretty much going to mirror what I said there. They were confused. They didn't know how to approach this thing, and it showed over the course of the Vita's lifespan. I mean, first it was supposed to be a dedicated gaming machine, portable gaming machine. Then it was supposed to be an extension of the PS3. Then it was supposed to be an extension of the PS4. Now it's just... Then it was, when we got into that whole second screen thing, they tried to, market it as that. Now they made a different machine and pretty much said, you know what, you can have a Vita at home on your TV. They just didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do, so now they're just throwing their hands up in the air and saying, you know what, guys, we give up. It's dead. We're done. We're not going to do anything with it. If you buy one, great for you. But...
Great for us.
If you want to buy my hardware, good for you. But I'm not telling you I'm going to support it.
If you want to buy this $200 handheld, you need to buy a $400 PS4 too to make it worthwhile.
Exactly. It would be,
buy a bundle.
If the competition killed it, and that's not the case. Nintendo 3DS didn't kill it. Sony killed the PS Vita. That's the sad part. That's the sad part.
Shot them like the Borderlands cover. I was like, just picture them just shooting themselves in the head, bro.
Exactly. I mean, come on. Well, all right. First, Nintendo and the 3DS. They kind of took the Vita out behind the barn and shot it. Poor thing didn't die. Just over the course of time, it bled out, still didn't die. Sony's like, oh, you know what? I'm just feeling bad right now. Let's put a shotgun in the damn thing's mouth, blew its head off. So that's pretty much how it is right now. They killed their own system, killing their own system by way of their words now, not even by their actions. They're just telling everyone, we give up. We are done. do not expect anything from us concerning this device anymore. We're not producing anything for it. If you have one, well, sorry for you. Thanks for your money, by the way, but whatever.
So
You know?
this is the marketing guy for the PS Vita that said this.
He's actually like it's not a marketing. He's not a marketing position. He's actually a corporate head.
He
Like,
was asked a question about the AAA, why there's not as many AAA
So
games.
if this is the best he can offer,
he's like the president of one of Sony's divisions. Let me look up exactly what he is.
He shouldn't be the president anymore.
This last E3.
be in denial no more.
There should be no more confusion. If you couldn't tell from the conference that they had, they barely mentioned the Vita, right? And you know, persons who could figure it out were like, all right, well, you know, Vita's dead, but now we have actual confirmation that it's dead. So
yeah, okay. Andrew House is a British businessman and the current president and group CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment, replacing Kaz Hirai, who became chairman of the company in 2011. So he took Kaz Hirai's old spot, and he's a CEO. Like, Sony has like 10 CEOs, man. Like, like a million CEOs. But anyway, yeah, this is not like just like a marketing dude. You know, like this is a higher up. This is a corporate, you know, million dollar maker here.
He has Kaz Hirai's old job. So
exactly.
If he's saying this, it's over. It's over.
Francis, man, they got 10 CEOs, and each one is more clueless than the last one. So
they do have a lot of CEOs because they have a lot of different divisions and stuff. I mean, I was like Shuhei Yoshida and like Andrew House, like the same dude saying the same thing. But anyway, it's like whatever. So yeah, you know, you guys have heard what I thought about it. I think that it's really unfortunate. But I kind of knew this was going to happen, and it's just I just remember just all the stories, you know, Vita, and how it's going to kill the 3DS, and that article, that infamous article from IGN.
Colin Moriarty.
Colin Moriarty, yeah. The Vita is destined.
It's set to succeed.
It was just manifest destiny. They are set to conquer. It's their land. I mean, that's basically what his article was, and his reasoning was just so like I could never expect this from somebody. Well, somebody who says they're professional. I've never seen such a slanted view on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about that article. Like, it's easy to say in hindsight, now that the Vita is dead, that ha, you were wrong. But people were saying that when he made the article.
Yeah.
You know, because of the points he was making that gave him the reasoning that it was dead. It was obviously really fanboyish stuff going on.
Can I chime in on Colin real quick? You guys probably didn't see last year. I watched some of IGN's live stuff after press conferences and stuff, and he officially said the Wii U isn't a next-gen console on last year at E3 2013.
Right.
So that dude's
that's the type of stuff that's just so that's like trash. That is just like utter trash, and you can't sit here and say that he's not biased when he talks about it. When you say stuff like that, I have never, when the N64 was stronger than the PS1, I never said, oh well, the PS1 isn't a next generation console, you know, like, because it's like I never said that. When GameCube and Xbox were stronger than PS2, it's like, oh, it's not, PS2 isn't next generation. Like, I would never say that about something. And I mean, for everybody who gets accused of being called fanboy stuff, like, I would never say something like that. And that's just ridiculous that somebody that works at IGN, like, you're supposed to be a professional and you say it's not an 8th generation console.
He doesn't understand the concept of what next generation
he's just his brain is just, he can't understand. And like when people say certain stuff about this, and like I think this is part of the reason why the Vita is, I mean, not necessarily because of the people talking about it like in the media and stuff, but you know, it's a false sense of confidence I think Sony gets when they see all these people talk about how this is going to destroy this is going to destroy that, because they're paying attention to social sites. They see all this, and it's not the case. It's just not the case. The games aren't as good as the competition. Sony's not as supporting it as much, and Sony thinks we can coast on this stuff when big websites like IGN post articles like that. You know, it's just, in my opinion,
black kisses and stuff.
Yeah. I just think that it's bad. Like, as a journalist, you shouldn't be making articles like that, saying stuff like that before the competition is even out and it's even going, because your influence of what you have as far as your website, that is big. IGN is gigantic, and when you do stuff like that, it just sends the wrong vibes and it just sends the wrong information to to these publishers and to these developers, and it shows. I mean, you look at it now, the article looks foolish. It looks so stupid right at this point, you know. And it was stupid back then, and it looks stupid now. So, but anyway, we're gonna move on from that. We're gonna move on from the whole Vita talk, and we're gonna get back into some Nintendo here. So, have you guys heard this rumor? Diddy Kong Racing is set to come to the Wii U in 2016, and I'm gonna read off some supposed information on the game. So Retro Studios is handling the Wii U version. Monster Games, who's worked on Excitebots and Excite Truck, and they did a little bit of Donkey Kong Country 3D on the 3DS. Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. They're working on the 3DS version. Monster Games. This is Nintendo of America's first unified game, and what they mean by that is console and handheld, similar to Smash Bros. For the 3DS and for the Wii U. This is going to have heavy Amiibo support with characters and being sold alongside of it, maybe even bundles or packages. The Amiibo support was key into getting this game greenlit because apparently it's pretty expensive. So Nintendo of Japan was like, okay, well, we're going to have to make our money up on it somehow, or it's going to have to be a big money maker. So that was one of the key factors. Nintendo was thinking about showing off the game at E3 2014, but decided against it because it might interfere with Mario Kart 8 sales, plus because it's still a couple years off from when the game is actually going to be ready, so there's no point. Maybe they thought there was no point in showing it this early. It's had a long development cycle. Diddy Kong was cut from Mario Kart 7 and 8 for this reason. They wanted him to have his own spotlight, I guess. At least that's what the rumor says. And this will easily blow people away from what. This is not what I'm saying. This is what this person is saying. And this rumor comes from the GAF, from a supposed insider that has contact with Monster Games. And this is going to blow people away. So I will give just my brief thoughts because I'm not the biggest Diddy Kong Racing fan, but I like Diddy Kong Racing. I think it's cool. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do think it's a lot better than Mario Kart. It was a lot better than Mario Kart 64 because that game, I don't think that game was that great. But anyway, if this is true, I can easily see this as being true. I can definitely see this as being true. The Amiibo support, yeah, I can see that. Having Diddy Kong and having different characters from the Donkey Kong universe in the Amiibos, that's a good idea. That's definitely a good idea. That would help offset some of the cost of the game. And yeah, I agree that not showing it off, that's a little too early, and it might cut into Mario Kart 8 sales maybe a little bit if people were expecting the game, sooner. Some people might hold off on getting Mario Kart 8 and just wait. So I can see that. And Retro Studios making this game, yeah, I think that's definitely feasible with Retro working on the Wii U version and Monster Games working on the 3DS version. Both of these studios have also worked on Donkey Kong games before, and Monster Games is they always help out with Retro's projects. They helped out with Tropical Freeze. They did the 3D port of Retro's original Donkey Kong Country Returns, so that seems feasible as well. So those are my thoughts. So let's go ahead and we're going to start off with Zen. Or actually not Zen. We're actually going to start off with Terminator. Terminator, what do you think about this rumor? How feasible is it?
I'm 50-50 on believing it. Like you, I wasn't a huge fan of Diddy Kong Racing just because I didn't own it. I rented it for like 3 days back when it first came out. It's the last time I played it and the only time. So you guys help me if you played this game a lot. Wasn't there flying as well? Was it all flying, or was it a mixture?
It was flying. It was a mixture.
It was like Sonic Racing Transformed. It was like you could pick them from the beginning. Like Transform, like it's during the race. But with Diddy Kong, it was like you can pick a hover, like a hover boat thing. You can pick a cart, or you can pick a plane. Like you had.
And they raced on the same.
It was all at the same time.
All right. Yeah, I remember liking the game, but not enough to buy it. I didn't buy Mario Kart 64 either for the N64. But it seems plausible. I saw the full list of details this person had, and they were saying it was going to be, like you said, a huge budget, and just the visuals and the game that they had already this person was saying was just going to blow people's minds. Like it just was doing something, and they didn't go into detail. So if it's true, that would be nice because, Nintendo only releases one Mario Kart 8 per generation, so this could be a nice type of game to kind of fill that, so they don't have to wait 6-7 years to get a big hit in this style game, even though it's slightly different. Amiibos I think are going to be huge, and I think this would be a perfect game for that. build from the ground up. And I'm excited to see if it's 2016. I mean, that's a long ways away, so I guess maybe they'd show it at next year's E3. But yeah, I think it would be great because we're not going to get another Mario Kart game on the Wii U, so this could be a way for them to release another type of game like that and have another huge hit on their hands. So I'm excited. Hopefully it does turn out to be true. I know there's going to be a lot of guys and gals upset if Retro's working on this, and this is their whole staff's working on this. That discussion's going to come up. I'd rather have them, me personally, I'd rather have them working on something else. But if it's not their whole team, if they have big enough staff to do 2 games at once, I'm fine. But if this is their whole team working on it, I would rather have a different game, me personally. But if it does come out, I think it'll probably be, I'm guessing, would be a great game and be a huge hit for Nintendo. So that's basically all I got to say. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan, so.
Yeah, agreed. I would like Retro to work on something else as well. I'm not sure if they have a different project. I think this is probably their core team working on it. Maybe they have another project going. I don't know. But hey, whatever. So Zen, did you want to chime in on Diddy Kong Racing rumor? What you think about it? Do you think if this game? I'll ask you a different question. Do you think if this game was to come out in 2016, do you think it could be as big as Mario Kart 8?
Definitely. Absolutely. Just like you said, the original Diddy Kong Racing completely destroyed Mario Kart 64 in my opinion. It was night and day from every angle. From gameplay, options, visuals, everything destroyed that game. So we're talking about a potential repeat here. Potential people repeat. So and I know a lot of people are already lighting up those torches and pitchforks. Keep calm. Keep calm. Right? The thing is I'm a huge Diddy Kong Racing fan. Huge. That game was it was a watershed moment for me in gaming. It was definitely. The fact that you could have 3 different types of vehicles in a singular race. You can choose what you want to do. There's a whole adventure mode. There, everything about it just screamed innovation to me at that time. If they were to do it again with the implementation of Amiibo, I would see it being a huge success. Yes, I could see it selling a lot of copies. I could see it moving Wii U units. But it's a question I always ask: why has Nintendo ignored this franchise for as long as they have? They have Mario Kart. Mario Kart usually comes out within the first year or 2 of each individual console's lifespan as you go through the generations. But even though it's an evergreen title, Mario Kart is, it tends to just taper off just a little bit towards the middle of the generation or towards the end of the generation. You need another kart racer. Diddy Kong is your answer. So I'll be very glad, very happy if Retro is working on this. I trust them with the Kong franchise. They've proven themselves in that arena. I trust them with that. So they really don't have anything to prove to me with regards to that. If they are working on something else, well, no problem. But it's gonna be fine either way for me. But I really, really hope this is true. I really, really hope this is true because somehow, for some reason, I really don't even know why, Diddy Kong Racing has become a niche franchise. So I really hope that it is being made better now than any other time. They probably will forget about it. They'll take the back burner, and it might be another 10 years or more before we even hear the franchise's name brought up again. So I hope it's true. I really, really hope it's true.
Okay. So next I want to move to Zen, and I'm going to ask Zen a little bit of a different question on this one. Or not Zen, I just talked to Zen. Mr. T, do you think that Retro is using, do you think that this is where Retro's talents are best suited, is making a kart racer? If they are making this, remember this is rumor, guys. So
Right.
if they are making this, do you think that they should be making this, or should they be working on maybe like a new IP or working on Metroid? What do you think?
I don't want to say what they should and should be working on. If the game is, a project that they, think they can do some really cool things with, and it turns out to be a great game, then, I'm all for that. But I'm just gonna say I don't believe this rumor one bit, because, like Zen just said, for me, Diddy Kong is a product of Rare. Rare is brought Diddy Kong to the forefront in video games back in the mid to late 90s. It was their character. yes, it belongs to Nintendo because it was a character they created in a Donkey Kong world, but Diddy Kong was basically Rare's character, and they made Diddy Kong Racing. Was an awesome game at the time, and it did, like you said, it did all these cool things. You had people in planes and hovercrafts and a cart racing all on the same track. I mean, it was awesome. Graphically, it was better than Mario Kart. Things like that. So I can see where I just think the era is now wrong because we have everything's online. We have DLC. I just think if Nintendo was to release some Diddy Kong thing, it would be in Mario Kart. It would be the Diddy Kong expansion pack or something. That would seem like something that would be more plausible because, Nintendo, especially with the Amiibos, they're doing some things with Mario Kart as well. So for them to then offer a whole new kart racing game, it just didn't. It don't seem like that would be something that they would do. It seems like they would be wasting. I don't want to say wasting because I think it would still sell pretty well, but I just think, if anything, if it came out, it would be Donkey Kong Racing. It wouldn't be Diddy Kong, because like I said, Diddy Kong is a product of Rare, and he's a secondary character. I mean, he just is. He's an awesome character, but he's a secondary character, and in 2002, Diddy Kong Racing would have made more sense. But in 2016, Diddy Kong Racing doesn't make a lot of sense to me, So I just don't believe the rumor. I feel like there might be Diddy Kong Amiibo for Donkey or for Mario Kart, but I don't feel like they're making a whole nother kart racing game in this era. It just doesn't seem plausible to me.
I totally respect your opinion, T, but I have one word for you: blasphemy.
So I want to move to Jamie. So Jamie, I'm going to ask you a separate question. Do you think Diddy Kong looks stupid without his hat on?
I couldn't imagine him any other way. Otherwise, he'd just be a plain chimpanzee, and that just doesn't seem cool to me.
I just think Diddy Kong looks stupid without his hat on. When he takes off his hat, I personally think that
looks weird.
Yeah. He should keep that hat on, like when you do his taunts, in Smash Bros. And stuff. He should keep that hat on, in my opinion. So if they were to make a Diddy Kong Racing, make sure his hat is on, and I'd be happy.
It's kind of like P. Diddy without his shades.
That's definitely true. But no, Jamie, do you want to give your real thoughts on the game? What do you think about this rumor?
Yeah, apparently from what I've learned, this rumor has been going around since 2012. And I don't know whether to believe it or not, because the thing is, people are always trying to dredge up old N64 franchises. So it could go either way. It might be true, it might not. And personally, I'd like to see a new version of Beetle Adventure Racing on the Wii U, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is that?
What?
You never played Beetle Adventure Racing?
What is this?
Beetle Adventure Racing. What is Adventure Racing? What is going on here?
I thought you were Nintendo.
Exactly. That's blasphemy right there.
No, that's blasphemy. I'm in a call with a bunch of heretics, man. What is this? What is this? You really don't know what that game is? Oh.
I'm looking it up right now, and you're just real actual Beetle. I thought you guys were talking. It was like animals, like Beetle.
No. Volkswagen Beetle.
Volkswagen Beetle.
Was it when they released the new version in '98? That new Beetle that came out? I think it was.
Yeah, the new Beetle. Well, the new Beetle back then.
Yeah.
That's when they released that game. Yeah. Awesome game.
It was good.
I bet it is. Yeah.
You don't sound so convinced.
Princess was too busy playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, in those days, I was not a fan of that. I just felt games felt slow, games felt sluggish. In that era, both on the PS1 and the 64, things just didn't move as fast as I wanted it to. And you guys know I'm a little bit of a frame rate, type of horror guy. So, I mean, like, I like frame rates. I like to be fast, and you guys have to admit, 64 and PS1 frame rates were just not. I didn't know they were called frame rates back then. I just felt it. Yeah,
I didn't care about that coming from 2D out there. Going into 3D was just was all good enough for me. It was awesome to see that. So I wouldn't.
Games just felt sluggish to me.
Yeah, I
when
thought
played them.
Diddy Kong felt real slow. I remember thinking that.
Compared to like Super Nintendo, like when I played like Chrono Trigger never felt sluggish. Like I was a big Super Nintendo guy, and like all the Super Nintendo games always like Mega Man always just seemed so fast, and then you go from like Mega Man X, like Mega Man X3, and you go like the Mega Man X games, and then you go to like Ocarina of Time, and like you're moving in like 20 frames. I mean, it was awesome. Don't get me wrong, the 3D was great, but I felt it, and I was just like, man, like that era was not my biggest era, to be honest. I was playing like Super Nintendo games till like the Dreamcast came out. So just to give you guys a little bit of background.
Hashtag frame rate hoes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, resolution. I mean, I don't care. 720p. Just as long as it's HD, that's fine. Whatever. But frame rate. I like 60. I like 60. And that's why I like Nintendo. That's why I like Nintendo games. That's why I like games like Bayonetta. Devil May DMC, Devil May Cry. Well, not the new one, but the Devil May Cry 4. Stuff like that. Just frame rate is kind of important to me. But yeah. I mean, the Beetle Racing. I'm looking. It does seem like it'd be a cool game for back in the day. Yeah,
it was critically acclaimed when it came out, and it was well received commercially too. So
it looks good for an N64 game. I'll give it. It does look pretty good. I'm looking at the screenshots right here. It does.
Oh yeah, visually back then it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the key thing for me that I love so much is every track felt like an adventure. It didn't feel like a racing track.
Right.
Well, that's why it's in the name, dude. Like.
Exactly, man. In that game, shortcuts had shortcuts.
Oh, the shortcuts.
All right, so we've talked about Diddy Kong Racing. I think it's mixed as far as the feelings go if this is actually true or not. But now we're going to move on to another racing game, and as I like to call it, Project Bullshit. I mean, Project Cars. So, you guys know about this. The rumor came out that, or not rumor, the news came out that Project Cars was going to be delayed on the Wii U. It's going to be delayed. It's not coming out till 2015. The PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions are coming out in 2014. And the reason why there's such big outcry over this is, one, how it was revealed, and two, the fact that Wii U owners are actually looking forward to this game more than the other owners on other systems, because those other owners of the PS4 and Xbox One, they have exclusive games coming to them in the same time frame. So people are kind of wondering, why would they make this type of decision? But Project Cars is delayed. But the biggest thing that I want to just get off the back first, before I let you guys take over, is the fact of how they announced it. The Namco, or Bandai Namco UK Twitter account says Project Cars will be launching in November for the Xbox One, PS4, PC, period. Wii U to follow in 2015, exclamation mark. And that was the first that we ever knew that the game was delayed on Wii U. So they with the exclamation mark, they say, it's delayed till 2015. Why would you... it's like they were excited. Yes, the game is delayed till 2015. Like, why would you put an exclamation mark after that? Like, it makes no sense to me, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. I know maybe it was just like an honest mistake. Maybe they're just excited that the game is coming to the system at all. But at the same time, I look at it like that's not the way you announce a delay. And then they just made things worse. They continued to make statements and just make things worse and worse and worse, saying, oh, well, the Wii U version needs we need extra time to make sure it lives up to the potential of what we want. No, that's not the case. That is not the case. The PS4 and Xbox One, you guys feel that that fan base is more important to you than Nintendo's fan base. So you guys stopped working on it, and you guys don't want to work on it. It's not that, oh, they couldn't, they want to make it up to quality. They're just not working on it. They're not working on the game because it's not important. It's not important to them. It's not important to get it out. The PS4 and Xbox One are more important to them. So therefore, screw the Wii U version. It can come out in 2015. That's my opinion. That's my opinion on the matter. So Zen, what do you think as far as that goes?
Oh boy, man, Project Bullshit indeed. Project Bullshit indeed. The thing is just what you said. We are the back burner audience. If you have a deadline issue, if you have a finance issue, funding issue, the first version you delay is a Nintendo version. There is no question, there are no polls, that's just the way it is. Speaking of polls, it's very crazy that the version you delay is the most anticipated one.
Exactly.
According to the poll on your official website.
On your own website.
which is ridiculous. These other consoles, they all have the crew. They have Forza Horizon 2. They have what's the name of that
Drive
game?
Club.
Drive
Everybody
Club.
is looking forward to Drive Club on PS4. That game's going to sell gangbusters.
Exactly. They even have bundles coming out for that, so you can see each system, Xbox One and PS4 respectively, have an exclusive they're looking forward to in that same time frame. And PC and all of them, all the rest of them, of course, are looking forward to the crew. You delay the game on a one system that has no direct competition in your genre. Are you serious? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The most anticipated version and the one that has no direct competition, that's the one you delay. Really. At first, I was blaming Bamco, as I call them, for this, but then Slightly Mad came on and said, "Oh no, Bammy didn't screw you over. It was us. It was our choice." So you know, that just turned me against them entirely. And it's a shame because this was originally an independent venture. It looked good for an independent studio in their game because a lot of them go for the retro style stuff, the easier mechanics and all that. This looked like a AAA game, a AAA budget. And it's funny that once they got the AAA budget, the money man, Bammy, that everything just went sour. So, you know what? As per my original self-imposed rule, no power to no purchase. That's it.
I quoted you on that one too. I'm also taking up that rule. That's ridiculous that that they would even. They should delay. Look, I don't care if I get flack for this. They should delay the PS4 and Xbox One version. You want to be honest about it? They should delay those versions. The PC and Wii U version should come out first because that is the least competition. The PS4 and Xbox One versions should come out later. Look at what happened to Grid Autosport. Grid Autosport got destroyed. It came out and nobody bought the system on the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. You know why? Because nobody wants more than one racing game in 1 year. Everybody is looking forward to The Crew, looking forward to Drive Club, and looking forward to Forza Horizon. And people already have the first Forza to play, and Gran Turismo 6 on PS3. There's not enough room for all these racing games to be coming out. Grid Autosport got absolutely. I think that franchise might be done. It sold so horribly. You know why? Because everybody's like, I don't want to buy this. I'm buying The Crew later. Or I'm buying Forza. This is what's going to happen to Project Cars on the PS4 and Xbox One. You can mark my word on that one. Terminator. You want to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. First, I want to say that I am a racing fan. I grew up around my brothers and my dad, all into cars and NASCAR and all that. I've always enjoyed racing games. I remember RC Pro-Am on the NES. I mean, still fond memories. So I love racing games. Simulations not as much a second tier. More fun arcadey style games are ahead of simulation. But this Project Cars was a day one purchase for me before this. And I'm not sure if they were going to release it digital. I saw different reports saying since it's indie and crowdfunded, it was going to be a digital release. So I don't know now that Bamco's involved. Maybe it's going to be physical.
It's physical. It's physical.
Okay,
now.
it's going to be physical.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you hit it perfect. What you said, I agree with. PC and Wii U were the initial consoles, and then they had 360 and PS3 on there as well when it was first crowdfunded. I think they got like $5 million or something from the crowdfunding. A lot of those people were Wii U owners or Wii U supporters. I don't think the Wii U was even launched at that time, but it got. I don't know if it was a stretch goal for the Wii U or not, but somehow it's a lot of Wii U fans funded this game, and for the last year or so, they've been putting out articles or talking about how we're going to show everyone that the Wii U isn't weak. We're going to show the hidden potential of the Wii U, I think was what they said. And this whole time they're talking up how they're pushing the Wii U to levels that no one's seen yet, and getting the Nintendo fans all hyped up and basically hyping up the game. The name of the game, Project Cars, was getting hyped up through Nintendo fans. I don't think PlayStation or Xbox fans would even know about this game if it wasn't for all the hyping they were due to us Nintendo fans with everything they were saying. And it felt good seeing, Project Cars, Wii U, PC, PS4, Xbox One. Usually the Wii U gets skipped, or they'll do 360, PS3, no Wii U. So if it's like, wow, this is an 8th generation game. It's covering all the 8th generation systems. I was feeling really good about it. But there was always something in the back of my mind. They would never show footage. They'd never show a screenshot. They're saying all this stuff of how amazing they're making this game look, but there was never anything to show for it. So in the back of my mind, I was always a little bit worried, why aren't we seeing any Wii U footage or screens, at least a screenshot, you know? And so then, was it last week or right before this, they had that they announced all the DirectX 11 features they were implementing in the Wii U version, and it was going to be 720p, 30 frames per second, which is kind of a bummer. But they were hyping it up even more a couple days before this. You know, Wii U seemed like there was no doubt in my mind this game was coming out, and the Wii U was going to be, you know, not the lead platform, but right under the PC. And then just the way that they announced this was just completely wrong. They could have done it better, but I agree with you. If it's going to be late, delay the PS4 and Xbox One versions, get that Wii U and PC version out. Like, there's no reason to or delay it for all systems equally till next year. You know, like you said, all the competition for the other systems, it's going to get killed anyway. The smart business decision would be to delay the game to 2015 equally across all systems, and the fact that the Wii U one is the only one getting delayed tells me that they just stopped working on it. Like you said, they're going to finish PC, PS4, Xbox One, and then once they're done with that, then the whole team can go back to the Wii U version. Is kind of how I feel it's going to happen, and it's just a shame. And now it's really going to be a hard purchase for me if it ever comes out. When it comes out, I don't know if I can buy this game now based on just the principle alone. So it's a real shame for me. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I was looking forward to it as well. But yeah, another thing I just kind of want to say on that, it's I don't like the backtracking and like the PR spin that they're doing right now. They're saying, "Oh no, the Wii U customers, you guys are very important." No, no, we're not. No, we're not important to you. We're not important to you. We're not important to Bamco, and we're not important to you. Obviously, we're not important. Because if we were important, then you wouldn't do stuff like, as far as Namco Bandai's side, you wouldn't do stuff like not release a physical version of One Piece Unlimited World Red here in North America. You know, it's digital only. Like, you wouldn't do stuff like that. But PS3, Vita, those get physical versions everywhere. But Wii U, no, not the Wii U. You know, you wouldn't do stuff like this. If we were so important to you, then you wouldn't delay the Wii U version, you know, even when we show the most interest. Like,
yeah,
we're not important.
I wonder if that poll was, if they created that thinking that they were going to have to delay some of the versions, and if it was, they obviously didn't go by it. But you know, Namco, they also might be looking at, well, with Smash coming out, and they might know the release date, and they're like, well, if we wait a month or two, there's going to be another million Wii U owners out there, you know. By the time we'll just release the game, once there's a couple more million Wii U owners out there. So I'm sure as a CEO, you know, their minds work different than normal people, and they usually make the wrong decisions. I work for a company and just got bought out by a huge corporation. Our CEOs just the decisions they make just are baffling. So I'm sure in somewhere in their logic, there's some reasoning for it.
Yeah. So T, what's your take on this opinion? You wanna grab a pitchfork and some fire and head on over there, or what?
No, I'm honestly, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, because this kind of stuff happens too much to the Wii U fans, and you know, the only reason I even cared about this game was because, like Terminator Juice said, they were hyping it up. They were saying how great, how much they were gonna push the Wii U version, and because I'm not a simulation racing fan by any stretch, but this is the indie company, and they were putting out a AAA looking, you know, game. So that, you know, I wanted to support them because of that alone. You know, and also obviously they were talking up the Wii U version, and initially it was for PC and Wii U, and I feel like it's a stab in the back, because basically Wii U fans, PC fans too, but mainly Wii U fans were the ones who hyped this game up, who helped get it funded to begin with. Xbox One and PS4 weren't even in the picture yet, so that alone it's just a stab in the back. I don't, you know, I just can't. I can't get over that, and for me, it's like Zen said, no parody, no purchase. I'm moving on. I'm not even going to get upset about it. I'm just going to move on.
Well, I mean, I can understand, T, that like how you're not a simulation guy, considering all the racing and all the crazy stunts you pulled in the A team. I mean, I don't see you sitting down normally and driving on a track. I don't see you being the simulation type guy. I think the crew would be more your type of game, or maybe the Batmobile. And just
I can't play that either because it ain't on Wii U. So the Wii U can't handle the Wii U can't handle the Batmobile. So I can't play that either. So.
All right. So Jamie, Jamie, do you have to bounce right now? And I didn't know if that was that you have to go right now. And do you?
Well, after this topic, the one last thing I want to add to this topic though is one thing that frustrates me about this was that poll they put out like six to 8 months ago, where they were asking everyone what version are you most excited for, and everyone like 50%, over 50% of the people that voted said they were most excited for the Wii U version, and that's the one that got delayed.
Yeah, it's a horrible tragedy. We just need to grab that. I can already hear some of the PS4 and Xbox One fans. Oh, just grab a violin, cry me a river, blah blah blah. People were already complaining on my side. They're like, oh, you're spamming this topic, and yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm spamming it. You know why? Because it's my website, and I can spam it if I want to. So yeah, I'm spamming it. And yeah, if you don't like it, go to IGN. You can get, so yeah, because I'm upset about it. I think it's BS. I've had contact with some of these guys. I'm not gonna say who. But I've had contact with these guys, and they're feeding me the lines too. I'm like, oh, and I'm over here sitting and clapping, like yeah, and I'm eating up everything that they're giving me, like, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna take advantage of the Wii U. Then they're like, oh, delayed. It's like, yeah, whatever. What happened to all that stuff about the Wii U? It don't mean nothing to you, bro. Like, and the people know whoever they're not listening to this, but if they were, you guys know who I'm talking to as part of that development team. I mean, come on, you guys know what you guys are doing. The Wii U's not important. The Wii U simply, it's just not important to you. PS4 and Xbox One, everybody, that's where everybody buys games. Nobody buys games on the Wii U, right, guys? I mean, nobody buys games on the Wii U. There doesn't need to be a Wii U. I mean, who cares about the Wii U? Let's delay 2015. Not even give us a date, like January, February, March, April. I mean, go on. No, 2015.
December.
How about 2016? How about 2016? Was that good for you? And then, oh God, these cats. I mean, there's too much lying going on. But I think that's going to go ahead and we're going to finish that topic, and we're going to actually skip over a couple topics. And Jamie, I want you to give your outro since you got to bounce to go somewhere else. So once again, thanks for joining the network. I really appreciate it. And if you have anything to say to the fans out there and the users, go ahead and do that right now.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and thanks for having me, Francis. And be sure to check out my channel, Butterworthy. Hopefully, you'll like what I do and stick around for a bit. Thanks for having me.
All right then, Jamie. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to skip a couple topics, like I said, and we're going to go on before we get, because we have questions and there's a lot of them, so I want to give us a little bit of time for that. So we're going to move briefly to our E3 thoughts, and I don't want to just elaborate because this could take forever, so I don't want to elaborate on too much, but obviously you guys know how I feel. Nintendo dominated the E3 performance. I was at E3. I played a lot of the games at Microsoft and Sony's booth, and I just was not impressed. Nintendo came out swinging, and they Mike Tyson'd a couple people. I think Microsoft had an okay showing. I think the games on the show floor were good. I think Sunset Overdrive is fun. But Sony's booth was not something that I felt was appealing. Nintendo, to me, had the best games, and I think it showed in what some of the results and some polls and what people are thinking. So I'm going to start off with Terminator. Terminator, your E3, your brief E3 impressions as far as who you think did the best. I think I already know. I think we all already know who we thought did the best, but just go ahead and elaborate a little bit on how you feel about how Nintendo structured this E3, I guess.
All right. I thought their structure was amazing. I think the best thing to happen to E3 since its inception was the way Nintendo did it, especially the Smash tournament. That was the highlight event of all of E3. As far as event, I just thought that got me so hyped for that game. As someone that's not a huge Smash player right now, I didn't buy the last game, so that really got me hyped up to see the crowd's excitement for that game. And the game looks great, so that was awesome. The digital event, the robot chicken stuff was hilarious. The way they did the interviews, I like seeing the developers their passion. You could see it on their faces, their joy. The Splatoon guys were just, they couldn't stop smiling talking about that game. And,
yeah. Did you see the Treehouse Live with them?
Yeah.
They were so excited to be there and talking. Like, they even tried to speak a little bit of English too. Like,
so
you could just tell that they were so excited. I loved seeing those guys there.
Yeah,
they were young too.
You could see it on just about everyone that either had an interview, they had in the digital event, or they had the Treehouse. So it was just amazing. I could not wait to get, like, I took that day off, Tuesday, and I watched everything, and then Thursday and Friday, or Wednesday and Thursday, I couldn't wait to get home to check out the Treehouse. Thought it was amazing, and my favorite game reveal, I mean, by far and away, was Zelda. I mean, I don't know. I get chills just bringing that up. I got my hair stood up on the back of my neck. Like, it gives me chills just thinking about it. I love the direction they're taking it, the art style. So if anyone's watching this, I just actually uploaded my live reaction video to E3 yesterday. I forgot all about it that I recorded that. I edited it together. I cut all the spots where I was just like staring with my mouth open at the screen. I just kind of jumped, So I just thought it was amazing. It was the best E3 I've ever watched.
Easily.
But I would say Zelda was the best like game reveal. But out of all the games that were playable, shown gameplay and stuff, I'm actually, you guys probably think, some people will probably think I'm silly, but the Yoshi's Woolly World, that game, just something about that, the visual style, just watching them play it, it just looks like for me, that's one of the most anticipated games that's coming out in 2015, unless Zelda comes out and makes it out that year. I thought Yoshi's Woolly World looked amazing, blew away Little Big Planet 3 on every level, and that art style, I hope they continue that with different franchises like Donkey Kong and Mario, and I just thought it was great. The whole thing was, I gave it an A+ pretty much in my review. There wasn't really too many complaints that I had, and other than some of the Treehouse, one of the announcer girls kind of annoyed me after a while. She's just a little too, I don't know, something about her voice or something, but I thought it was great showing gameplay, talking to the developers, and all of it. It was just amazing, and Microsoft's was okay. They showed some pretty good games and stuff, but Sony's that was a snore fest. I was literally getting angry that after I saw the third CGI trailer with no gameplay and no actual in-game stuff at all. I think it was the Dead Island 2 one.
That's where I went and made a sandwich. I made a sandwich. That was the part where I just went up and I went and made a nice sandwich.
I forget if it was talking about IGN again. It was either Colin or something. They were just so giddy about that CGI trailer, and I just I texted my buddy Derek Stiff. I was like, if I see another CGI trailer, I'm gonna break something.
They were hyping up a CGI trailer for Dead Island 2.
What
did that trailer
IGN's reaction to press conferences where they did their little live show afterwards.
Oh my gosh!
But
you gotta be kidding me.
Sony's was terrible. The only thing that impressed me was Arkham Knight, and they showed the PC build, and that's the system I'm going to buy it for. So I want to thank Sony for showing me a lot, and Microsoft for showing me a lot of games I'm going to buy on my PC. So
nice.
Thanks for that. Far Cry 4 is, so
I'll get that on sale.
I'm just like, I don't care about all these multiplats and all these CGI trailers. So Sony's was just terrible. I'd probably give it a D- just because there was a few decent games in there, but yeah, overall, I thought Nintendo that was a revelation for E3, and we said it in our predictions video. I said that I think Sony and Microsoft within 2 years, by E3 2016, they'll be doing something similar. And you said, if it works, they will, and I think it worked, and I think we're going to start seeing a change. So,
okay,
great E3 though.
Definitely agree with you there.
So, yeah, that's my feelings.
Ms. T, can you give me, because I know you've talked about your feelings on there. Can you give me your best games as far as your top 2 games that you felt from the E3 where Nintendo kind of knocked it out of the park compared to the competition?
Top 2. I want to say Zelda, but we didn't see we saw in-game stuff, but we didn't see gameplay. So. I'm going to have to omit Zelda for that reason. But, dude, there was so much other stuff that I was blown away by. I was surprised that I was still blown away by Bayonetta 2. Like it's still looking better to me every time I see it. Like at this point, I would think I would be just ready to play the game, and I am. But to still be seeing things that excite me for the game is amazing. But easily, Splatoon was my game of the show.
Nice.
It just looked like so much damn fun to play. A nice new take on the shooter genre. And oh man, top 2. That's tough. I'm gonna have to go with Woolly World as well. Again, because of the visual look. I mean, it just looks so damn clean. It just looked like it looked like it was somebody recording in a high definition camera of puppets on a stage using yarn and fabric materials. It just looked that good. I was kind of blown away by how visually impressive it was.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in real quick. I deemed it Nintendo's take on realistic visuals because it looks like realistic yarn. So it's
right.
People love realistic visuals. We'll give you a realistic look in yarn. Like it looks real.
It does look. I saw it right there. When you see this game in person, you're going to be literally blown away. You'd be surprised, and I hate to bring up Little Big Planet because people keep on doing that, but people keep on telling me to ask me about that because they saw my preview, and it's just the fact. Graphically, and you would think that Little Big Planet would look so much better because it's PS4, but that is not the case. Like Yoshi's Woolly World graphically blows away Little Big Planet on PS4. So I mean that says something about how good that game looks because PS4 is pretty strong. I mean Little Big Planet looked good, but Woolly's World just looked like fabric, dude, like right there in front of you. So yeah.
I mean and the fact because back in the day Yoshi, what was it for 64, Yoshi's Story.
Yeah,
that looked great. It looked amazing at the time, and it had awesome sound in it, especially for a cartridge game.
I loved that game.
But the gameplay was kind of meh for me.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be the case this time because this game is more like a Yoshi's Island kind of a gameplay feel to it. And so I know it's going to be, gameplay-wise, it's going to be up to par as well. So, yeah, I mean, that game just blew me away.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Your 2 picks are pretty good, and I'd have to agree with them definitely. Yoshi's Woolly World blew me away. It wasn't my game of show or anything like that, or my top 2, but it was still amazing. So I kind of want to take a little bit more in-depth look because we have the King of Logic over here. So Zen, can you give me the thought process behind how Nintendo did this? What do you think Nintendo's main goal, thinking about it from a philosophical standpoint, why do you think Nintendo chose to do this route and to put together the show the way that they did? With all the backlash, because a lot of people would have backed out. Sony and Microsoft probably would have backed out if they tried something like this and all the fans got upset. Why do you think, from a just thinking of critically thinking, why do you think Nintendo decided to go this route?
All right. The easiest thing I can think of, the simplest way I can put this, is to make a difference, to separate themselves from the crowd. I think Nintendo realized back in 2012 that the stage at E3 wasn't working for them. Aside from all of the backlash they got for that show, I think they just said, you know what, this is not what we're going to do. We're going to carry our digital platform even further because Nintendo Direct now has a lot of viewers per each Direct, right? Each
millions.
Direct that they have, millions. So I think that they just said, you know what, we're going to go full on with the digital thing. We're not going to name it E3 Nintendo Direct anymore. We are going to have a digital event. And they pretty much changed everything from Iwata just standing there. As you said, he's a little bit slow because, English isn't his native language. People didn't really like Iwata talking for 40 minutes plus. Everything they did, from the Robot Chicken stuff to the Reggie Iwata fight, which is quite possibly one of the most epic things we'll ever see.
It was awesome.
The humor involved, giving the developers a chance to speak, even though in my personal opinion, spent a little bit too much time on some titles like Yoshi. As good as it looks, a little bit too much time talking about yarn. It's like,
yeah, I will agree with you there.
They could have fit Devil's Third in there. So, or give him Bayonetta a little bit more time. But outside of that very minor flaw, it was a very good showing, and I think they proved the point right now that the E3 of the past is dead. The on-stage presence, the bombast, and bringing cars on stage and celebrities, and you got this guy who plays NFL coming on there to talk about EA Sports, and then you got Drake talking about he likes FIFA. It's like, that's you and everybody else who likes FIFA, dude. Nothing special there. So all of that stuff, all of that flash, they dropped it in a sense, and they went more to function. Yeah, they still had flash, but they erred more on the side of function, and it worked as an entire package. It worked. As E3 overall, just my opinions here. Microsoft had a decent show. They had a very good show. Phil Spencer's a boss. Don't know why they didn't have him in charge earlier. Don Matrick could stay over at Zynga. That dude, yeah, I can't support him. The way their show was structured was pretty good, even though they kept the stage. But it was pretty good. It was just an hour and something of just games. They convinced me to buy an Xbox One, so that's good news, I suppose. The third-party guys, Ubisoft, Borefest, they started off with their best thing, which was Far Cry 4, and they just went downhill from there.
Downhill, bro.
I'm like, you start off with Far Cry 4, and somewhere near the end of the show, you're showing me an app for Just Dance. Are you serious? That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
Ubisoft shows just, and then whenever I EA's presentation, it just reminded me of that music video you made then, where EA was spinning around within that Reggie. That just reminded me of EA, just idiots, just spinning around, just acting ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, man. Don't even get me started on EA, man. That press conference got me so angry.
Jokers, man. Where's Ryan at? They're a bunch of jokers.
You're talking about the next Mass Effect. Then you have this dude from BioWare coming on here saying, well, we hear some alpha footage of what I hope you assume would be Mass Effect. But, yeah, we're talking about a new IP already. So here's about this new IP. I'm like, dude, people want to see Mass Effect. What's wrong with you? Then we have Mirror's Edge. And, they show footage of what looked like Mirror's Edge, the original one. It doesn't look like Mirror's Edge 2 at all, Developer Diary. Here's the difference. Nintendo did have Developer Diaries, but they showed gameplay as well. You got to see what they were talking about. EA? No. We're going to start the show off with Star Wars Battlefront. And we're going to say how we went to the LucasArts Museum. And we took pictures of R2-D2. Who gives a shit? I mean, come on. This is a games conference. I want to see games. Good Lord, man. Come on.
R2-D2, baby.
It was a complete bore fest. It got me angry. It definitely got me angry.
I don't think EA and Ubisoft should be allowed to do press conferences. No, in my opinion, I don't think they should even be allowed to do press conferences. They are not big enough. They do not have enough rapport. They cannot make enough games to do press conferences. That's stupid. You
shouldn't do them unless you have a console.
Yeah, you shouldn't do them unless you have some type of console.
Well, they got Aisha Taylor though. At Ubisoft.
The one saving grace. The one saving grace. But then we get to
until she opens her mouth. Let me just say
I like her. I just don't like her at the Ubisoft.
Until she starts talking. When she's just standing there, she's easy on the eyes, but I mean. Until you realize she's 6'3" and could dunk on you. So I mean,
yeah. Man, then Sony. Really, let us from children. Really, Sony. Really. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm sitting there for this 2-hour juggernaut of a conference. I'm like, what the hell is going through the minds at the corporates over there? Why do they think this is entertaining? The one high point of that show for me was Little Big Planet 3. Until I found out that it's coming to the PS3 as well. I mean, come on, really? I mean, it's about time you start pushing the PS4 with actual games and not hype, right? So, why are you making it for that game? I know why. It's a business decision, but at the same time, they should, try pushing the console a bit more. it was just generally boring for me. It was just boring for me. I didn't like it. A lot of CGI nonsense. We got the Dead Island dude. Then we have the big surprise at the end. Nathan Drake wakes up in some water. Who gives a shit? I'm like, come on. I'm like, seriously, show me some gameplay. That's what I want to see, gameplay. The dude wakes up. There's someone narrating over. I can't remember what the dude said. But it was just generally, I mean, come on. That was supposed to be a big pop at the end of the show. That was supposed to be a big pop. Oh, and to just be perfectly fair, if you're talking about big pops, Nintendo. That Shigeru Miyamoto tease at the end with Star Fox, not cool. Not cool.
The game's clearly not ready, but yeah, they could have ended it a little bit better. But overall, I think the content was great. But yeah, Zen, I mean, I echo your statements on your thoughts too.
Yep, it was a good E3 overall, but it definitely had its high points between Microsoft and Nintendo, and the rest was just That was just a general consensus.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you know, I already talked about me. Obviously, my game of show was Xenoblade Chronicles X, even though it wasn't playable, but they showed plenty of gameplay at E3 of the demo, and I uploaded my analysis video. That game's amazing. It is just flat out amazing. And also my next game, of course, Zelda, but Bayonetta 2. As far as my playable game of show, Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 exposes every single third-party developer who's made a game on the Wii U at this point. They're not using the system right. They're not. Bayonetta 2 looks phenomenal.
It does. It does. Well, I just want to add one thing to my statement about Uncharted.
Oh, no problem.
Nathan Drake wakes up in some water. Don't think that's a fanboy statement, right? If Nintendo made a trailer and Mario wakes up in some water, I'd be like, what the hell is this? That would be my honest opinion. What the hell is this? He wakes up in some water. What? What am I supposed to grasp from that?
Super Mario Sunshine 2. That's what I would think. I was like, let's go. There's water. So,
there's dead like Goombas in cages.
That's what I would think. He's like, where's my flood? I mean, that's what I would think. I'd actually be hyped for that. That's a good idea.
Somebody should do that. Do a spoof and make it Mario. Yeah, exactly like Uncharted.
Trailer with Mario and he wakes up with water and like Peach radios in. He's like, Mario's like, this is the last time.
That would actually be pretty funny.
Yeah. A flood's end, you know. I totally want that now.
You better trademark that before something.
I can't. It's Mario. I can't do that. It's already trademarked. But
idea. Great.
Good job. Actually, good job, Sony. You guys get a C now.
Yeah, but that was in-game cutscene. That was in-game cutscene. So that's everyone's saying that's in-game.
Really? Really?
Yeah, like everyone. I played The Last of Us. The cutscenes look 3 times, maybe 4 times better than the actual game. Like, but it was in-engine cutscene. But still, I think that's a lot of people are blowing that out of proportion. That it's in-game, like that's definitely what the actual game's gonna look like.
Yeah,
definitely. You got these idiots over IGN.
Has a lot of in-game cutscenes as well. The game won't look that good when you start playing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have these idiots over in IGN, Colin Moriarty, and what's the other one? Greggy something.
Game over Greggy or something.
Game over Greggy, yeah. Greg Miller. And they're gushing over this. I'm like, really? But E3, well, they had their poll over there, and the results, I just like to say, you know, I personally call it the Chronicles of the Salty Ones. That's what I call it. Because now everybody thinks the entire E3 was crap. It's like, nobody had nothing to show us crap. Because, you know, Nintendo swept the poll over there, which is something nobody saw coming, but...
No, that's what happens when Nintendo wins. Oh, no, it all sucked. Nobody won.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. Nintendo's gonna... If something else changes, Nintendo's gonna keep winning because they got some pretty big games lined up for next year, too.
Right.
And you know they're gonna bring it. So overall, I think E3, yeah, like, I'll just basically touch off, like I said, with Bayonetta, exposes every single third party. You guys aren't trying. It's proof. Because Bayonetta 2 not only does it look better than every single third-party game by a large margin, it runs faster. It runs in double the frame rates of every single third-party game release. Whether we're talking about Mass Effect, Darksiders, any of these games that have been released, Deus Ex Human Revolution looks bad compared to Bayonetta. Like it's it's really bad. And like I said, I was playing this game first and forefront, and like the fact that it runs in, it looks better and it runs faster. You guys are these third parties are trash and they're not trying because Platinum Games is not the biggest studio out there. You know, they are not the biggest studio out there, and they completely showed up every single third party. They're not trying, and that's the reason why I don't buy third party games. You know, on the Wii U a lot, just because I mean, you look at what Bayonetta 2's done, and it's obvious that the third parties aren't trying. So whatever. But
you know what people will say, it's not 1080p, so that would be the one.
I don't know what it's in, but whatever it's in, it looks great. I think it's 720p, but it's 60 frames per second, and it's fat, and it looks absolutely like you guys saw the newest trailer. I mean, it looks phenomenal. Like, and like
I don't know, it looked like it might be 59 frames a second.
And it has multiplayer too. It has online multiplayer. They haven't shut off much of that, but there's going to be multiple characters from the Bayonetta universe in there. So the game is looking to be just an amazing package. So I'm looking forward to playing the first one over again and playing that one, and just continue playing that one over and over again for the next probably like 3 or 4 years. Like I just played Bayonetta 1 on the Xbox 360 again last night. So I beat that game again in one run. So. Yeah, really quick. I just beat it. So I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But we're gonna go ahead. I have one more topic, but we're gonna skip over that and probably save it for the next vidcast, probably like closer to Smash Bros, just so we can build some hype with there. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the questions, just so I can get you guys out of here sometime soon. And the first one is Axis Magnus, and he asks, I remember a comment from, he's talking about me, saying that you were planning a mass campaign to get Wii U owners to buy Bayonetta 2. Can you tell us your plans? How can we get as many Wii U owners to buy the game so we can avoid a wonderful 101 situation? Okay, yeah, I will answer that question since it was directed at me. I am planning to do multiple videos, another gameplay analysis video. I just want to do it a little bit more closer to Bayonetta's release. I don't want to start building up hype at this point, and then Smash Bros. Comes out, you know, on the 3DS or something comes out, because Smash Bros. Is going to come out first, you know, on the 3DS, and I don't want it to break the hype, so I am going to build it a little bit closer as far as videos. So I'm going to be doing more videos, more gameplay walkthroughs, explaining the game, because a lot of people still don't understand what Bayonetta is. So I'm going to go through and break down what Bayonetta is on the Xbox 360 and why this game is so innovative. A lot of people just look at it and think, what's so good? It looks like DMC. I'm going to break down why it's better than DMC, what's so innovative about it, and what you can do in this game, because it really is the most innovative action game of all time. So that's what you're going to get as far as building hype and momentum. You're going to get a lot of gameplay videos and gameplay analysis videos. As far as avoiding the Wonderful 101 situation, the problem with the Wonderful 101 is that it's really not a game. The game is not as good as it's great, but it's just not up to the expectations, I guess, of some Wii U owners from what they've played from the demo. It was confusing. It wasn't something to where you can just easily pick up and play. A lot of people had struggled with the controls. Bayonetta is a different type of beast. Bayonetta is, the controls are easier to grasp than the Wonderful 101. And Bayonetta overall, as far as combat for combat, like system for system, Bayonetta is more impressive looking, runs at a faster frame rate, and overall is a better game. So that's why I think, not only that, but you're going to get Bayonetta 1 as well. The package is just better. It just offers more. Bayonetta 1 or Bayonetta 2 offers more. So that's why we won't avoid this situation. Plus, Bayonetta is not a new IP established, and people do know it's an amazing game. I mean, I think it has like a 90 average on Metacritic or something like that, or 89. People do know it's a good game, so it's just a matter of Nintendo actually making sure people know that it's a great game. So that's how I think we can avoid the Wonderful 101 situation. All right. Does anybody have anything to add to that, or are you guys planning on doing anything?
I just wanted to add that I didn't play Bayonetta 1. I knew it existed, but I didn't pay attention to it at all until the announcement of Bayonetta 2 for the Wii U. But I was always on the fence. Like you said, you're gonna go over what the game is to people. I thought it was just nonstop action. I didn't know you could kind of wander around and explore a little bit.
Yeah.
From what I've seen from the demo. So once I saw that, the inclusion of Bayonetta 1 with different costumes, it's a day one purchase. I went from potentially it could have been something I would have bought on the bargain bin to a day one purchase. So I think they're already doing a better job than Wonderful 101, because I wasn't looking to buy Wonderful 101 at any point.
I'll be completely honest. Like, I'm a Platinum aficionado. I love their games. I've beaten all of their games, going back to when they were Clover Studios, back with Capcom. I've done all that. I love their games, and I will say easily, Bayonetta is easily their best creation. It's better than Mad World. It's better than Okami. It's better than everything that they've done. It's really it's really special. And yeah, there is some exploration. There is some other stuff that you have to do. There is other things. It's not just. It is kind of nonstop action, but it's not like 100% nonstop action. You're gonna be, there's some platforming parts in there, like where you turn into like a panther. Like Bayonetta she can shapeshift. She can turn into bats, and she can turn into a panther. A lot of people don't know that about the game either. And there's parts where you're doing platforming, where you're running, and like, stuff's kind of like destroying behind you. You have to like jump and things like that. So there's other things to the game, and even in this new game, there's going to be a Bayonetta mech, like straight up like old school Mega Man. You know how Mega Man got in the mechs and Mega Man X and all that? It's like there's a part where Bayonetta is actually in a mech, and she's just like doing combos and stuff. So I mean,
that mech looked really cool.
Yeah, that mech part. So I mean, they're really varying up the gameplay here. So I mean,
and one last thing about Bayonetta is that ass. Can't forget that.
I agree. So we have just some comments from people saying that their favorite moment of the digital event. This is from Josh Harden. He said that it was the Treehouse live streams, and then Treehouse live streams were great. And then PS3 Rules 8890 says that just saying Mr. T has a great accent that makes him awesome. I'm gonna subscribe to him when I get the chance. So that's Mr. T. That's why I do these, is so we can all build networks and have people subscribe, and So yeah, you're gonna love this content. And let's see here. And then we have a question from Tony Curran, and he says, or T-Dude73, who do you think looks hot in Hyrule Warriors? Queen Zelda, Lana, or Sia? Zen, I'll have you take this one.
Is that even a question?
Well, I know. So go ahead and explain why. What makes the person that you're about to talk to that I know the best looking one?
Queen Zelda, hands up, hands down, all around. This week, next week, all year. Yo, she's the queen. What's wrong with you? She's the queen. Bow down, boy. Get on your knees.
Get on your knees. She's the queen. Well, I mean, I would say Sia. You don't know what she looks like. She could be like Melina under that mask. You never know. I mean, like.
Yeah. I mean, people say Sia because the assets that she has.
Yeah, that's true.
But nah, I can't say. But Lana looks okay, but she has too much of that. She's too Japanesey for me. So we're gonna leave her alone. But Zelda looks awesome in this. Warrior Princess, man, she's like Xena in this game. So it definitely Zelda looks the best, both gameplay wise, fighting wise, and just generally overall. And for anyone who thinks otherwise, want to diss Zelda, you're gonna want to keep that fact a secret from me, at least. I'm not gonna take it kindly.
All right. So the next question comes from Dragon Ichi 26, and he asks, given how long Zelda U has been in development, what are your guys' thoughts on why they didn't show any gameplay features or go into any real depth? Surely they have mechanics in place by now, and they can talk about it. I'll take that one, and then we'll move on to the panelists as anybody wants to take on that one. I think that they basically didn't show much on it because I still think they're still working on a lot of things. The game it's probably going to come out fall 2015, so they just wanted to give us the first glimpse, and they did briefly talk about actually some of the gameplay mechanics as far as puzzles and how you're going to traverse the world. They did actually, when Eiji Aonuma was on screen, he did talk about that, so they did give some details. They didn't go into real depth because they didn't have to. They have another E3 because they said that, Eiji Aonuma said that he wants it to be playable at E3. So there's no point in spilling into everything right now. It's the same reason why we didn't get a ton of gameplay details on Uncharted, or lots of games that are going to come out next year, like the end of next year. There's no reason to. They're still working on those gameplay mechanics. You don't want to promise something that doesn't end up making it in there. So just give us a little glimpse. I would have liked more, but I can see exactly why they did it. They're gonna show us more, and plus we have Nintendo Directs. So that's another thing that you have to realize. It's like they don't have to show everything at E3. They can have a Nintendo Direct at the end of the year that shows off more on Zelda when they actually fine-tune and build more mechanics into the game. So be a little patient, and remember, this is not Microsoft or Sony where everything comes out in the E3. This is Nintendo. We're gonna get Directs. We could probably get a Zelda Direct maybe later. So that's my thoughts. T, you want to talk about this one?
What was the exact question again? I know you're talking about what
he said.
Expectations.
He said, why didn't they go into more depth or features?
Oh yeah, I mean that's pretty much my answer too. We got Nintendo Directs, and and they can focus on where they couldn't at E3 because they had so many different games to focus on. There'll be more, and by the time they show Zelda again, they'll be more inclined to show more things, because it'll be closer to release. So yeah, I mean they'll go in depth with the gameplay for sure. You probably won't see that kind of stuff till next year though, but
Yeah.
I mean, you just gotta be a little patient, I know some of the gamers that are fans now haven't been around as long as I have, as far as Zelda reveals and how that all goes.
Well, we're all pretty old, so we're all
Yeah, well,
we're pretty old, so we're all
well,
there with you.
back in the day, we used to get our Zelda information through VHS tapes. So if you had a subscription to Nintendo Power, that's how you got more information on stuff like that. You got to see gameplay with VHS tapes that they would send out. So it's a lot better now, especially with the Nintendo Directs, because you get direct videos on gameplay and games coming out. So it's an awesome new thing. Yeah, it's just got to be a little bit more patient. It's coming.
I remember the video. I remember they sent me a VHS tape for Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, I still have all mine. I think I got
I remember that. My mind was blown. How old was I? I was like 8 or 9 something. I was like 8 or something, or 7. I was just like, what? My mind. I mean, you want to talk about people's minds being blown? My mind was literally. I think I passed out after I saw that when I was a kid. I could not believe the graphics. And my brother got home from school, and he just heard me screaming. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Look at this game! It's real monkeys jumping around." So yeah, that's how old I am. That's how we used to get information. So yeah, just be a little patient. Terminator. Do you think they should have showed a little bit more?
No, because it's a little tease. The game's coming out, if we're lucky, in November 2015. Zelda games are notorious for getting delayed, but show us a little bit, a nice little tease, show us some in-game, the environment and stuff. But what I liked and what was hard to show is how he described the gameplay. He says the puzzle solving starts as soon as you decide where you want to go. Then the puzzle solving begins. So they couldn't really show it. It'd be hard to say that speaks more to me than trying to show it, especially with games like Smash coming out this year, Bayonetta coming out this year. There's no reason to steal hype from them and show some of this stuff. And maybe it wasn't ready to be shown much more than that. We don't know. But I think it's a good little taste of what's to come, what they showed us. And like you said, a direct. Next time they show it, it's going to probably look amazing, whether they just do a trailer or some gameplay. But yeah, E3 2015, I think, is their plan to really reveal that game in full. So I was happy with that they showed anything at that point. I'll take it. I would have liked to see a little bit more, but I'll take what they gave us.
So, finishing off this question, Zen, do you think that Eiji Aonuma did that from a logical standpoint? Do you think that Eiji Aonuma did that on purpose? Do you think that he purposefully held out information to kind of get people to talk about it as much as possible? Because he did the same thing with talking about Link or being a girl or a guy. He said, I never said it was a boy, or I never said it was Link, and he just wanted people to. He was just joking. Do you think logically there was also a way that Nintendo did reveal it like the way they did and revealed just the amount of information that they did?
Yeah, it's Zelda, first off. So it's going to have that set amount of people, a lot of people who already know about it, follow it, and follow every development concerning the franchise. But yeah, I believe he did it to get people talking about it, keep people talking about it. And honestly, I wish he had kept that that whole trolling he did with the whole girl-boy. I didn't specifically say it was Link. I wish he had kept that going a bit longer, because that would have led to a really good conversation at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It should have been left alone for a while, maybe until the next Direct. And yeah, we'll definitely get a Direct, maybe later this year, maybe the pre end of the year, pre-Christmas or whatever Direct will give us more about that game. If not, well, we'll see it again at E3. And in typical Nintendo fashion, imagine how good it looked now. I mean, there was so much going on in that original image that he showed you before it began moving when the monster came chasing Link down. Imagine how it's going to look then. Because, again, Hyrule Warriors, anybody?
Yeah.
That original reveal was just meh, and then look at what it is now.
Mario Kart 8, same thing with Mario Kart 8.
Same thing, yeah. So the next time we see this game, it is highly possible that it's going to look worlds apart from what it looked at E3. And I mean worlds apart better, not worse, because Nintendo doesn't do that.
You guys are gonna love this next question. So, Zen versus Mizzy versus Shokyo versus Francis in Smash Bros. 4. Who would win and what characters you would use in that matchup? Well, Shokyo's not here, so I can't speak for Shokyo, but I would use Greninja. Mizzy, who do you think you'd be using right now?
I would probably go with my tried and true Samus. That's how it gets down. So.
And we'll replace Shokyo with Terminator. So because Shokyo's not here, maybe I'll ask Shokyo like who he uses, or maybe I'll watch some of his streams that he's in. Terminator.
Probably didn't include me because I said I'm not huge into it right now. I'm not very good at it at this point.
So
but what I'm seeing right now, Zero Suit Samus for sure. She looks physically like the character design's awesome, and her movesets look incredible. So I'm definitely gonna start with her and see where it ends up.
And Zen?
I got Zelda and Sheik. I can't choose one because there used to be one down in Sakurai. But anyway, you split them up, man. You split them up. But between those two, and if not them, I'm probably gonna have to fall back with Link. Yeah, that's gonna be it.
And who would win? It's going to be me, of course. That's who's going to win. What kind of question?
Yeah, I wouldn't speculate on that because I think I'm pretty boss. I beat pretty much everybody I play around me. My friends are into it as well.
Mr. T, your kids don't count as people you beat, bro.
Good one. What I was trying to say is that I thought I was pretty good, and at Mario Kart as well. That I got online, and I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on that too. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm a pretty good player. I'm not a tournament guy or anything like that, but I can get down.
Okay, I'm joking, obviously.
Yeah, I know you are.
Everybody here is, Smash Bros. We're all Nintendo fans, so we can adapt to the game and get good with it. But to be honest, like, Greninja felt like a real extension of Wolf to me. I mean, if Wolf's not in the game, that's fine. If you're a Wolf user, we have those underground Wolf users on Brawl, pick Greninja. You'll be fine. He's a faster Wolf, in my opinion. He's a faster Wolf, so and his final smash is awesome if you play with the items. Greninja has this really cool down smash where he just kind of flips off people's heads like ninja style, like Chun-Li actually. Like, you guys ever played Street Fighter with Chun-Li? Just kind of like bounce on their head. Like, Greninja can do that, and then he can combo that into like a dive thing. So I mean, it's just, if you guys haven't checked out my footage of me playing with Greninja winning the t-shirt match. Just check that out. It's kind of hard to see some of the angles, but Greninja really, his side smash, he gets out like water blades, and it's quick and it's powerful. So, yeah, I'm rolling with him. Hopefully, I'll win. But yeah, it'll be interesting to play. We're definitely gonna have some. I got a whole thing that I'm doing with Smash Bros. As far as how the Smash Bros. Show is gonna go when the game actually launches, because a lot of people are asking me, well, what's gonna happen when the game launches? You won't have nothing to talk about because the game will be out. I'm like, oh, don't worry. The Smash Bros. Show is transforming into something completely different after when the game launches. So. You guys will know about that later. All right, let's get into the next question here. No, I'm not going to talk about Tekken. Okay, so this is from PS3 Rules again. If you guys could go back in time and change a company's decisions, what company would you choose and why? Oh no, we need to bring in Archimedes for this one. I don't have an answer for this. I think it'd take too long. So I'm gonna let Zen take this question. Zen, what do you think about this
one? If I could go back in time, change the company's decisions, what company would I choose and why? Nintendo not making the deal with Sony at that time, I would say, which created PlayStation and what they are today, as we all know. Yeah, because we would have had the Nintendo PlayStation. We would have had all that the games that Nintendo had on the 64, as well as Crash and everything that was really good on the PS1 on one platform. So if I did have to go back and change a decision. I would say, yeah, that smooth that out, make that work. The whole fallout in the discussions that they had and the deal they were trying to work out that just didn't work out. So that's what I'd change. Yeah.
That's a
Why
good
would
one.
I do it? Well, obvious, because we'd have one platform with all these games instead of having different platforms, and it'd be easier on the gamers out there. Pretty much.
Either that or Nintendo changed their decision to do cartridges with the N64. That might have alleviated.
That's my decision.
I think that would have been a little bit easier to change, and then you would have got Final Fantasies and you would have got all the other games, and we'd probably be a whole different story right now with third parties.
Agreed. That's my biggest decision. I actually don't think that they should change what they did with PlayStation because that creates competition, and that's good. So if Nintendo's going to get smacked around, yeah, they need to get smacked around a couple times. That's fine. Just as long as they make money and they continue making games, I'm fine. But I have no problem with Nintendo getting slapped around by another company. They're just going to push them to be better. I mean.
Well, from the competition perspective, maybe if things turned out that way in this hypothetical time split. Maybe we would have had the Nintendo PlayStation, as I just said. Microsoft would have still popped up at some point, I suppose. Maybe Sony and Dreamcast 2 or 3 by now would have been around. Who knows?
The Dreamcast probably, I think it would have continued.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think if Nintendo and PlayStation, they made a Nintendo PlayStation, I definitely think the Dreamcast would still be around in some form of. I mean, I think Microsoft took so much of the fan base of the Sega fan base. I think really a lot of people just went from Dreamcast to Xbox. I mean, that's why they got Shenmue, and that's why they got a lot of the games that were on the Dreamcast on the Xbox, the original Xbox. I think the fans were kind of interchangeable there at times. But yeah. I mean, I agree. It's an interesting topic, but go watch Archimedes. That's what I would just say. Just go watch his videos. Just watch everything, and then he can talk about that type of stuff. So he can do a lot better than we can. I can guarantee you that. So we're going to answer another one, and Evo's going on, so I mean there's a ton of questions here, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to get to all of these questions, but I do plan on having these more frequently, so sorry if I didn't get to your question. I'll get to it next time, I promise, but this has been going on for 2 hours and 30 minutes, and Evo's on right now, so I want to let people just focus on that. So this is the last question from Josh Harden, and he says, tomorrow is the new character reveal for Smash Bros. If it's not a leaked character, who do you hope it is? So if it's not Shulk, that's basically what he's saying. If it's not a leaked character that we already know about, so Shulk, Horseman, Chrom, those characters have already been leaked. If it's not that, who do you guys hope it is? And Terminator, I'll go ahead and start with you.
My answer is going to be Bayonetta. I don't know if she's earned her right on the Smash yet with the game not being released yet, but I would like to see Bayonetta. It's a fighting style game, her combat, and I think it's a good fit. And it would help build hype for the Bayonetta 1 and 2 game, so like someone said, how to get the sales to be better than Wonderful 101, put Bayonetta in Smash and announce it. I think that would be big, but I don't think that's who it's going to be, but that's who I hope it is.
I actually have a video, a Smash Bros. Show. It was actually going to go up Monday, but since with the character reveal, I have to delay it till probably the end of next week. I'll probably do two episodes, but I have an inclination that Bayonetta is in Smash Bros. As far as a playable character, but you have to watch the episode to find out. Anyway, Zen, who do you think?
Crystal all day, baby. Crystal all day. From Star Fox. It needs to be
Adventures.
Yeah, it needs to be her. Shulk, yeah, come on. It's kind of boring choice by now because we all know Shulk's gonna be in. So I'm gonna go left field here. Crystal, that staff, baby, that staff play has gotta happen. It has to happen as a new Star Fox franchise representative in Smash Brothers because we've had them all. We need Crystal in there. Another female, more Star Fox representation. Make it happen.
I'd be totally down with them removing Wolf and adding Crystal. I mean, if they could make Crystal a variation of Fox, but add in no, that wouldn't even work because like Fox doesn't. All the variations don't use melee combat, so it wouldn't even really be like that. But maybe even if they just modified Wolf, and they have the same color scheme, Wolf and Crystal, they could really just kind of replace it. But yeah, I'd be totally down with Crystal being in there, or even remove Falco. Remove Falco and Wolf and add Crystal. So I mean. Hey, that'd be cool. I'd be totally down with that. or not Zen. I just talked to Zen. T, who do you think?
I'm pretty satisfied with the roster, and that's me counting who I think's coming back as well. So I don't want to speculate who's going to come back and who's not. I'm just kind of counting them already, even though they haven't been revealed. So I would like to see, if I had a choice, it would be either Wonder Red from oh gosh, I can't think of the game. Wonder Red from Wonderful 101 or Beautiful Joe. Those would be my picks.
Oh, those are two good picks. Those are really two good picks. I like both of those games. Yeah, Beautiful Joe would be awesome. I think he could have a really cool final smash. That'd be really cool. Yeah. As far as for me, I mean, obviously, I want Bayonetta, but I would also really like Isaac from Golden Sun. That's just who I'd want. I would hope it would be Isaac if it wasn't Shulk. And I would want a new Golden Sun game on the Wii U. That would also be another thing. It's an RPG that they could just really make cool. So yeah, I would like Golden Sun and I would like Isaac. That's who I want to be in the game. So that basically wraps it up. Like I said, we have a ton more questions here, but it'll take us. It'll take us an hour.
I just quickly want to answer. I didn't get the answer. The what companies would do question. What differently the alternate universe question.
Did I skip you? My bad, dude. Go ahead.
It's all right. It's all right. I just wanted to say because Terminator Juice took mine, give CDs to the 64 instead. That would have changed a whole lot of things that Nintendo had to deal with. So I'm gonna go with support Sega Saturn through 2000 and then release Dreamcast in 2001. That would have been my pick. Instead of jumping off Sega Saturn ship, even though it wasn't doing as good, just ride it out and then release Dreamcast. It would have been more powerful. It could have competed in that generation, the 6th gen, I think it was. It would have been maybe things would be different today with Sega for sure. So
maybe. I also think that if I could also change one more thing, just to piggyback on that, I would wish that Sega didn't rely on new IP so much in the Dreamcast era. I mean, I think that was the one thing. I didn't know the characters, and I didn't want to know who Samba de Amigo was, and I didn't. When I was that age, I didn't want to play Space Channel 5. I thought she looked stupid. I played the game now. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Samba de Amigo, they're all good, but at that time, that's the wrong time, especially after all of what had happened. That is the wrong time to be pumping out Space Channel 5, Samba de Amigo. I mean, Jet Grind Radio was cool. Jet Grind Radio was cool and all, but they spent so much money on these new IPs, and everybody's like, where's Streets of Rage? Everybody's like, where is Streets of Rage? Like, what if they would have made a Streets of Rage game? Like an awesome Rage. That's what I wanted from Sega. I'm like, I want Streets of Rage, and they never gave me Streets of Rage on the Dreamcast. They have franchises that they could have used, and they just didn't do it, and they decided to go new IP, and that crippled them. The best-selling game on the Dreamcast was Sonic Adventure 1 with 2.5 million. That's pathetic.
That's Soul Calibur was probably right there too.
Yeah, I mean Soul Calibur was great too. And I played Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast. That was great. I mean, that was a great new IP. I'm not trying to stifle, creativity, but when you have the history that Sega has in the franchises, Comic Zone, when you have all these franchises and things that they've done, people want to see that. And you're continually pumping out like monkeys with and just these really weird franchises, new IPs. I looked at what Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo were doing. I'm like, this is better.
Toe Jam and Earl, Afterburn, all their arcade awesome classics. That's
exactly.
Panzer Dragoon.
Dragoon.
That's the stuff they should have been dropping.
And instead, they were dropping
Seaman.
Yeah, really.
With the microphone.
Yeah, Seaman. I mean, I was like, what is this? Like, when I was at that age, I mean, of course, those games are awesome. Don't get me wrong. They're very good. I've played all of them, through re-releases and stuff like that. But at the time, if you're a 15-year-old or 14-year-old that was not what I was looking for. I was not looking forward to, like, a lucha monkey, like, with these weird, like, music games and Space Channel 5. I don't want to play as Ooh La La. Like, it just... At the time, I don't think it was the right time for that type of stuff, and it suffered because all those games basically tanked. So, and it tanked the Dreamcast as well. Because I mean, you can have bad console sales, but you better have good software sales, to make up for that. And the Dreamcast just didn't have really either one. So it's unfortunate. So, Yeah. But sorry that I skipped you on that one, T.
It's all right.
All right, so that basically wraps it up, guys. There's a long network vidcast. Remember, we only do these. I'm going to try to get to them once a month or bi-monthly. I don't know. It just depends on when people want to do them and what the time works out. But thanks, everybody, to all the new users, to all the new subscribers. Everybody's been getting new ones, so thank you for watching. Hopefully, we entertained you. This will be up on Player Essence as far as the YouTube version, so look forward to that if you missed some of it. And make sure you check out all these guys' channels because they all do great content, and we're going to have a nice network here. And look forward to more content coming up. The Super Smash Bros. Show, that's coming on Monday. It's going to be a little bit later than usual because I have to get home from work first to do it, so look forward to that. And make sure you just check out playeressence.com. So we're going to go ahead and do some outros here. Ms. T, you want to let people know about, just briefly about some upcoming content and give your sign off?
Hey fools, there's Mr. T of the Mr. T Show. There's an awesome vidcast today. Go ahead and check out my channel tonight. I'll be uploading a video entitled "Are You a Console Prejudice?" And so yeah, be looking forward to that. I'll be getting back to the tea time commentaries next week, and also my T reviews, game reviews. I don't even know the name of my own stuff, but yeah, look forward to that. I'll be getting back into the stuff that I started off doing the channel with. So stay tuned.
All right, Terminator Juice, you're the new guy in town. So go ahead and give your sign off here, and maybe just something what you're working on upcoming, something really close.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me and adding me to your PE Nintendo or PE Network, I guess. Really appreciate that. This vidcast was awesome. I wanted to say this earlier and I forgot. Zen, Ms. T, Francis, and Butterworthy, you guys are some of my favorite YouTubers to watch. I appreciate your guys' input into this community. I think a lot of Nintendo fans, don't want to segregate, but I think a lot of Nintendo fans take more of a positive spin, and it's not all about the hate and stuff. So I just appreciate you guys, and I feel blessed that to be part of this. And as far as content, I just uploaded a couple videos this weekend. One I did on Friday, just kind of a Q&A I did with some people, just a general video game discussion. And then tomorrow night, Monday, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm doing my Juices Loose weekly video series. I have Mr. Red Fox joining me and my friend Derek Steelfox, and we got room for one more person. We're going to be discussing Splatoon, what we'd like to see for the game, and just our feelings on it right now, and features and modes we'd like to see. My buddy Derek Steelfox has some great thoughts on that, and so tune into that tomorrow. Like I said, I'm looking for one more participant. And if any of you guys want to discuss Splatoon, let me know, or just anyone else on the Google Plus, send me a message. I already uploaded everything's set. It's the event has been created, so that's tomorrow, 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be about an hour and a half long. So that's pretty much the only video I have planned for the future. Those will be weekly every Monday. So and then anything else is just usually spontaneous stuff that I throw in. And so yeah, that's kind of how I do with my channel. It's mostly spontaneous, except for that one weekly series. So.
All right, yeah, and that'll also be on. You can watch that on playeressence.com too, because I'll actually have the stream set up for that too. So
right, cool.
Look forward to that. And last but definitely not least, we have our commander-in-chief, kind of the logical thinker. He's the strategizer. Strategy man. We got the logical thinker here. Zen, go ahead and give your outro here, and maybe anything that you're working on upcoming soon.
All right, first up, before I get to that, I would just like to send out my condolences to any Argentinian fans out there. Germany just won the World Cup. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
No surprise, no surprise.
Yeah, I was kind of watching that and doing this video, so 1-0. I'm sorry, guys. You tried. You had a good tournament, but the Germans are beasts, man.
They destroyed Brazil, didn't they? Like destroy.
Yeah, 7-1, man. They're beasts. So
yeah, they are beasts.
that was coming. That was happening. But anyway, on to the matter at hand. Going over to the ZGZ, check out what I have over there. I'm sure you're gonna like it. If you don't like what you see initially, stick around. You might see a video that you do. Check out the back catalog. As for upcoming content, I'm hoping to get into, aside from my E3 stuff and getting caught up in that aspect, I'm hoping to get started doing season 2 of Season Analysis very soon.
Please. Those are my favorite.
All right, so I'm hoping to get that started, as well as a new show I'll announce right here. I'm thinking of naming it Sunday Groove. I'm not going to go into any details, but just think about that. Sunday Groove, I'm hoping to getting into that, and it should be a really good, relaxing show that'll only be going up on Sundays. I hope I can keep that schedule, but that's what I'm thinking of right now. So once again, people, this was a really good vidcast. Enjoyed myself here, had some laughs, and some tense moments there with Bamco and the guys. Their bullshit.
Bammy.
Bammy. But it was great being here. So go on over, check that out. I'm the Zen Gamer, one and only King of Logic. Peace out.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for everybody for joining. And with Zen, I'm going to be reviewing and reposting a lot of Zen's analysis videos all in one post, just so, because there's been so many new people since when I actually Zen and T got up like on the site. And remember, the Player Essences each month, it just gets bigger. We get 1,000 new users, 500 new users, 400 new users as far as unique visits and stuff like that. So each month there's new people that haven't heard. So you will see on the site, you will see some, I would guess call it rehashing since it's already been on the site, but that's just for the new users to see some of Zen's old stuff. So we're going back to last year's. A lot of people haven't seen Zen's old stuff. So I'm going to make sure Zen's old stuff and Mr. T's old stuff is on the channel and just kind of featured a little bit better. I'm going to be making some design changes to where their content can be seen a little bit better, and so you can also see Zen's older stuff, because I mean it's still relevant because he's analyzing things, so it's still relevant. It's not like it's such old topics to where you won't know. So that's for the new users, because there's a ton of new people joining and asking me questions and saying, who are these people and what is this network type thing you're doing, so I have to kind of reintroduce you guys each time, and that's why I have you guys reintroduce yourself each time we do one of these, just so that for the new users, because Player Essence is growing and we all get new subscribers too. So good stuff. So once again, thanks for everybody here. Once again, I'm Francis from PE Nintendo, PlayerEssence.com, and Player Essence Gaming, the channel that I never upload to. You guys have given me crap about that. And make sure you check out that, because I did upload some stuff to that channel too. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks for everybody that joined. Bye.